Amy, Pando, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Need more
After
coffee.
a long night, but yeah.
What did you guys do yesterday?
We had the inner meets, so yeah, it was a little longer than planned probably, but I
We
survived.
went responsibly early home, for sure.
True.
We stayed there about until midnight, maybe.
Yeah.
Amy, you showed up at the Init meetup as well?
Yeah, I went to Init meetup. I went to Goons. I also went to Lemmy's, where everybody else was hanging around. So I tried to hop from place to place a little bit yesterday. It was pretty fun.
What about you, Lure? What did you do?
Ugh, went to dinner. I crashed early last night. The jet lag was really hitting me. And after Twitch chat bought us drinks and donuts, I had to go take a nap. So thank you, Twitch chat. Yeah.
Perfect. We are finally on the actual Fanfest day here. The opening ceremony is about to start in about 9 minutes or so. We're going to be here with you guys all day. How are you guys feeling about everything happening so far?
It's awesome so far. I'm really excited to see how many people are here today. Yesterday there was a ton of people, and today there's already way more. They've opened up an entire floor. I'm excited to meet y'all.
And you guys haven't actually checked out the second floor all that much. We've had the marketplace open downstairs. We're hoping to maybe have a roaming camera go down there later.
Yes.
And maybe show off the second floor as well.
Yeah, generally, I haven't seen a whole lot yet.
No, I told you that the history of EVE wall is down there, which was
I'll
up
check
in
that
2023.
out.
We've updated that to include the last couple of years. I believe that's just on the second floor down there. We'll take a roaming camera there later for everyone to see.
Yeah. No, I think it's just super awesome to see people also flowing in. It's like a sea of pilots coming in when we're sitting here.
Yeah.
A sea of capsuleers.
You guys haven't actually looked into the main room either, which is really cool looking. We need to go there later.
Yeah.
We're going to spend
actually
most
seen
of our time
the
here.
least amount of everyone here.
True. But I mean, it is what it is when you're showing up to do the hosting part. We are working the event. We can't stay out until 3 a.m. like some people, I'm sure.
Only 2 a.m.
Only 2.
2:30.
So in about, I would say, 5 minutes, we're going to throw it over to the main stage. They're going to have some kind of warm-up ceremony and then the actual opening ceremony with CCP Swift and a bunch of other people as well. And then the first day properly starts. What are you guys hoping to see today?
Oh, gosh. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in the flesh. It's been really a treat to meet a lot of the people whose names I recognize in-game and in stream. It's just really showcasing how EVE is about the people and about the players, that this world that the devs have made is about the people and less about the actual ships we fly. It's the people inside of the capsules. Sure, okay, looking forward to meeting you.
Pando only wants to hear about the ships, right?
Yeah. he wants to pod people.
I mean, I could go on a rant. I'm not sure if we have enough time.
We'll have a 45-minute segment later.
Yes.
We can rant
I'll
away.
keep it for then. But yeah, I mean, Laura was of course right. Seeing everyone like getting together first time. Everything like more full now, right?
Yes.
The days before, it wasn't like everyone here, but now it's actually going. So that's
properly
nice to see.
started.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also looking forward to Dr. Becky. That's going to be an interesting one. And yeah.
Should be good.
Yeah, should be.
I'm actually looking forward to... last year I was a lot outside of the main hall at the doors, and when you're there and you start seeing people coming out, the faces. After every presentation, all those chit-chatters, all the conversations, it's like a completely different view of the whole FanFest. I'm looking forward to being in that
That's
spot
what I really
again.
want to do with the roaming camera and have that down where when they're coming out and grab people and go, hey, what did you think? How are you feeling about what you just talked about?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do, y'all.
Is that something that Twitch chat wants to see? I'm sure it is. We're going to try and do our best to have it showcase the community as much as we can during these days. Not just sit here all the time. Should be a lot of fun.
It's more fun than just sitting, so...
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, just showing everything downstairs. Like, it's one thing just seeing this POV, people flooding in and out of the main hall. But you kind of want to be in the thick of it, right?
Yeah.
Type 1s in chat if more roaming camera. Okay.
We can't see chat, by the way.
We can't, but you can.
We will check
we
it
know
after.
there's going to be a
mods
lot
will
of
tell
ones in
us.
chat, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
What has stood out with the venue itself, the building, the way it's set up? Is there anything that you've gone, hey, this is pretty cool? Like, what do you think about the venue compared to, you've been to the other venue?
The old venue was good too, but it is a different vibe here, definitely, right? It's a little bigger, it's a little bit more open, right? I mean, it's a cool looking building anyway.
Yeah, Hafpa is really unique.
So yeah, it's awesome so far. I haven't seen many of the rooms yet, so,
No.
but so far, so
Yeah.
good, yeah.
I
Definitely.
think it feels like we've grown up. I mean, I was only in the last FanFest in 2023, but compared to that building, this is like we've grown up. we're kind of.
I see what you mean.
stepped
Yeah,
up
the other
the-
one feels a bit. I mean, the other one is in a sports hall, and we
Yeah.
try to make the best of it, and it looks cool when we make it up to look
It
like
was great.
some kind of like in-game station.
Yeah.
We can do less of the like customizing. We do have banners and projectors, but we can't nail things on the walls here, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
But the building itself kind of it's different,
Yeah.
different vibe.
It's a
Feels
grown-up
more.
version.
Yeah.
And the stairs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The stairs.
Unless you're afraid of heights, it's kind of
No, but like when you stand down on the stairs, it's like very nice view up.
true.
So.
We have like a sino when you're walking up the staircase itself.
Yes, there is a sino here. Okay, if y'all are wondering how to get here, there's an active sino. Okay, just come on down, make sure your fuel's topped up. No, the building is so big. It's my first Fanfest ever. Thank you again. It's a beautiful spot, and just coming over the hill and seeing the actual building, excellent stuff. Excellent stuff.
We got very lucky as well with the weather. It hasn't rained too much. We were meeting all the partners yesterday. We took a little walk to the Eve Monument, and we didn't get rained on. Not too much wind either. We have, I think, 30, 40 partners here this year. It was really fun to get to meet them all.
I found my name on the monument. It's awesome.
Nice. Actually, first time I looked for my CCP name on it, I was like, hey, it is there. Because they updated it like a couple of years ago, right?
Ah, gotcha. Right.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, one of the great things about the building is that when you are outside in a city, you can see from almost most spots where everybody
Yeah.
is, also from the monument. So it's like all the time this constant reminder, like, yes, you're going to be there in a couple of hours, in a couple of days. So it's like very present.
It's
all
just
the
that
time.
more central to, obviously, right? To the bar.
Yeah.
Easily done.
Yeah,
Right?
we went out to dinner yesterday, and the person was like, hey, what is all this? Like, who are these people here? Because 3 or 4 other tables were also wearing the banners and everything. They're like, what's actually happening?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it feels very Eve.
Have you
the
heard
whole
of Eve
time.
Online? Did you use your refer a friend, B?
I did not.
You know, come on. Come on. We'll
Saving
help
it
him.
for you, Laurie.
That's
you
right.
can go talk to her.
I will.
Yeah.
I believe we're going to be heading over to the main stage very soon. Any last messages before we start the day? How are you feeling about the real first start of the day?
I'm super excited. Y'all are going to love it. Everybody online, we're going to do our best to feature all the stuff to you. Everybody in person, check out every single booth. I guarantee you there's going to be some that surprise you. Okay, we'll be showing you.
There's all kinds of booths down there. Like there's people playing the board game. There's
The board game.
lots of different.
Dude.
I saw a guy getting a tattoo yesterday.
There's tattoos.
There's
Yeah.
more than one board game.
Yep, true.
That's also new.
Yeah.
Tattoos,
I
somebody.
didn't see that yet.
There's
Yeah.
a card game
Yeah.
and the board game.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to see. Maybe we can stream the board game later with the roaming camera. We'll see.
We just show it because
We could
otherwise you'll
definitely
sit there
show
for
it.
4 hours.
I think yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
We're not
Yeah.
going to play it.
Stop everything else. We're into this too much. Like
We're turning into a
We're
board
now
game
playing
stream.
Risk on stream.
yeah.
That's good.
So, any messages? What do you want to see today? Like, what are you hoping to hear out from the opening ceremony? What do you want to hear from the keynote? Anything special?
Pando?
Oh, man. We're running out of time, but I'm going to say, I mean, projection is a big topic. Has always been, I mean, I say always, for the last, I'd say, 10 years. We were promised small steps. I want to see a small step, at least. I mean, I want to see a big step, really, but, you know, if it's a small step, I'll be okay with that. Yeah, I
think we'll get new
if we get
ships?
that, I'm not
I do.
going to complain about it. I don't know. I mean, there's always something, right? But
I joked that we get a Vargarita, a Tech 2 Vargar, or Tech 3 Vargar.
Don't tell Crash.
Actually, no, that was the drink that,
Don't tell him.
that Crash was going to drink.
Margarita.
Yeah,
We need to
margarita
find
for the
one today.
Vargar.
We do.
We need to find
We
one.
He would-
should
he
get
would
like
lose his
a
mind.
Marauder-themed drink. I agree with you. I'm interested to see what the updates are going to be. Will CCP Okami continue to save us and make mining great again? We'll have to find out. I think we will get new ships. They've told us nothing. Okay. My prediction, I'm not going to look at you, B, so you don't spoil it, is if we get drifter ships, thank you, please, is there'll be a defensive unique module. I'm looking at you, B. I got to get it out. And I don't want spoils because we saw an offensive module with the Cenotaph and the Tholos. It'd be interesting if we have a defensive module, like a one-of for a drifter ship, if that's the case.
You'll have to find out during the keynote if that's going to be a thing. But we're going to throw it over to the main stage now with the opening ceremony. We'll see you guys very soon. Enjoy.
See you soon.
Enjoy.
Attention, Capsuleers. The welcome ceremony is about to begin on the main stage. The gate is green, so please take your seats. Honored Capsuleers, welcome to Fanfest 2025. We're going to kick things off in spectacular fashion with our welcome ceremony, this year featuring a data twist. Please give a very warm welcome to CCP Swift, CCP Lumi, and CCP Larrikin.
Welcome to FanFest 2025. I am CCP Swift.
I'm CCP Lumi, and we are so happy to be here today.
So many cool flags up in the audience. Love to see it. So much swag as well. Please find us after this and give us all of your cool swag. But let's kick things off. Let's see what you guys have been up to since last FanFest. Hopefully this is a familiar sight for some of you. The gang is all here. That was us as well, talking about the CSM 18 at the time. Doop.
I mean, and there's so many amazing EVE meetups all around the world, but honestly, FanFest is just the best one. It's amazing to just walk around town and see all the nerds in town. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, you absolutely do, Conkersov. And it's also amazing to be back here in Harpa. This was you. If you can believe it, this was you guys back in 2018. It's been so long since we've been here before. So much has changed. You guys have made incredible history within the game, but kind of a lot has stayed the same as well. This is one of my favorite pictures of all time, by the way. You might not recognize this person, but at the time there was a prominent EVE streamer, would go by Bjorn B. And he came to FanFest, had a good time. You can see Zarvox in the background as well. And he is so excited to be just nerding out with his people. Professional streamer, by the way. Microphone is backwards. Everything's all messed up. But, you know, never stopped smiling and kind of stayed the same ever since.
And I'm going to say you have all left your mark on New Eden history. And with you, I also mean us. We were there too. And actually, as it turns out, we said it last, how many years ago was this?
7, somewhere around there.
EVE was hard. EVE is still hard. It's never going to change.
Yeah.
And, I mean... So, there are so many of you here in the audience, and if you look around you, you might be able to guess who of the groups sent the most people. Like, let's hear some guesses here.
Maybe, we'll see. There are 177 different alliances represented out here, 529 different corporations.
And the most impressive bit? You came from 47 countries.
Yeah, made the way to our tiny exploding rock to hang out with your nerd space friends, and we are so grateful for it. But we've got this thing over here. It is the Alliance Attendance Cup. So let's see who gets to etch their name into it this year. Coming in at number 3 with 79 people, Pandemic Horde.
Then at number 2, just squeaking past Pandemic Horde, we have the Initiative.
And this last one is going to really surprise you. With 127 in fleet. Give it up for Goon Swarm Federation. You guys get to leave your mark with this thing. We have to leave it here, obviously. You can't just take it home with you. Asher doesn't get to have it. But we will etch your name into it. And next time FanFest is around the corner, we'll see if Goons can hold on to the trophy. Maybe, we'll see.
All right, time to look back since last Fanfest. We've had 3 new expansions, starting with Havoc, then Equinox, and then Revenant. And now there might just be a 4th coming really soon. You'll hear more about that later.
Yeah, you might hear about that a little bit later today at the EVE keynote. But last time we were on stage, we were introducing CSM 18. Just want to give a huge shout out to CSM 19, who are now a little bit more than halfway through their term. If you see Dujek, he's somewhere in the audience. Make sure to give him a big 07.
Let's not forget about Drake either. He's also somewhere around here in the audience. I can't actually see you, but I know you're here. Yeah, so make sure to give them just a pat on the back. They have to talk to us every single week and, talk about things that you're experiencing, things that you think need to be tweaked. So yeah, shout out to the CSM. Now, this might be a familiar sight to most of you. There was this little move up at the end of last year. I called it little, but it wasn't really that little. And as is EVE, some other people tried to make it hell for the people who were moving. And this up was so big that no matter what you do in EVE, you were involved one way or another.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere you looked within New Eden, something was popping off crazy. Losec has been going nuts with Dread Brawls. There's been some small gang PvP as well. This is from a pretty iconic fight that you guys had where you killed not 1, not 2, but 3 different faction titans. So yeah, just a little roam around the block. Pretty much wherever you looked, stuff was exploding, or being moved, being in the process of exploding. Even wormholers. We know you guys are out there. We swear we know that wormholers exist. I know you sometimes don't like to know that we know you exist, but you got up to some shenanigans as well. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit.
I mean, and the other thing you did, you took the chance to solve one of the world's most ancient mysteries. What is buried under the X on a map? I mean, spoilers, it's death. It's always death.
Yeah.
And speaking of death, we have some very vicious capsuleers around us today, and we want to highlight some of them.
Yeah, for the ones in the audience as well. Not just everyone, but for the people who actually came to FanFest and made the trip.
Thank you for coming out, by the way, and actually touching grass and leaving your home. We appreciate it. So in 3rd place. All right, give it up. In 3rd place, we have Heinrich IV from 4S Corporation with an impressive 7,263 kills, all made since last FanFest.
That is incredibly impressive. Next up, Con Paso with a huge number of kills. Thank you for making me sit up here and read Post-Nut Clarity with the boys on stage. My mom is watching. I'm going to have to explain this to her after the fact. But Con, 7,840 kills. Well done. Well done.
But there can only be one person with the most kills. Shepherd E from the Baba Yagas with 9,117.
Woo!
Also, best corp name. I love it. Thank you.
It is great. We also had a little PvP tournament back here in Reykjavik since the last time we saw you. The Alliance Tournament 20 returned. As you can see, we held it right in our studios here. This was the staff. It was an incredible moment. The Tuskers ended up taking the championship over Truth, Honor, Light. I think Mira is in the audience, so if you want to get like some theory crafting going on, go find Mira and the Tuskers team captain. Maybe you can kind of like step up your game.
Just refreshing the memory here a bit. last time was not the first time that the Tuskers won the Alliance tournament now, is it?
No, this is, I think they've won once before as well. I can't remember when Tuskers won again. If only we had something that we could like look at, that we had like maybe just like a printout of teams who have won the Alliance tournament before.
So I have some good news for you, but you know, shall we just do it?
Yeah, Concord said we're good.
All right, then let's go.
They're occupied elsewhere.
So we have done a little thing. It's actually quite a big thing, and it's also super heavy, so I hope I'm not dropping it on my feet here. We present to you the Alliance Tournament Trophy.
Woo!
And yeah, it's here. It must be true, it's written. So the Tuskers won as well in Alliance Tournament 14.
All right. Yeah, it's a good thing we have this, this handy thing to kind of keep track of who's won the Alliance tournament. I'm just sort of mystified by it. There's so much Pandemic Legion on there. It just...
We know you were on here. Don't have to rub it in.
Feels good. But again, huge shout out. Huge shout out to the Alliance tournament competitors. This thing is going to be living in our office, and we'll be continuing to build on it. Not just the game, the in-game monument in Monarch, but also a physical trophy representing just the grit it takes to get to the finals and win. So give it up again for the Tuskers this year.
And we know you can't really see it from where you're sitting, so we're going to put it on display just out the doors of Eldborg, where we are now, so you can look at it. It will be cordoned off, and Concord will be there, so please, please, please don't touch it.
Yeah. Concord will be watching this time. As CCB Lumi was saying, if you just go out these doors and pretend you're going to Fountain, just in that general direction, you'll be able to find the trophy and maybe take a picture or two with it.
And then, in Equinox, we released Skinner. And with Skinner, many of you released your creativity into New Eden, and it has forever changed the landscape.
Yeah, we've got really cool creations like this thing, things that we could never have really conceived of designing. Sometimes we just sit in the Paragon Hub and marvel at the cool things that you guys make.
And just look at that. Isn't it great?
Woo. So pretty. But, you know, there are some things that you guys make that, you know, just, I don't know.
Let's just call it very EVE Online.
Yes, they surprise us. One of our favorites, the hot dog Ashamu. Yeah.
The neon pink scorpion, very Hello Kitty style.
Yep, no one tells Sanrio, we don't want to get sued. That's just the thing. You guys also have kind of figured out that you can...
Oh no.
That you can break everything somehow, which is good. You guys put googly eyes on everything.
Uh-oh.
Well, let's kick it a little bit, see what happens.
Woo.
Oh, they stole the moment. Sitting in the audience right now is one amazing skin designer, Sven Bauer, who created this beautiful thing. The first to do anything like it. Our art team saw it and they shook their heads in amazement.
Let's just call it amazement.
Yeah. But, you know, if you see Sven here, make sure to get some tips on how to make a cool skin.
And we just highlighted a few of the small bits you've done since last Fanfest, but we have a better way of showing you, actually. We brought back the history wall. It's all the way at the end of the hallway, and we've added to it as well. 2024 is now part of it, all of 2024.
Yeah, so we'll continue building on this as you guys create some amazing stories. It doesn't have absolutely everything you guys have done, but we're trying to like find the big moments and throw it on there so you can look back and just see how much stuff you've wrecked over the years.
I mean, and we know you love leaving your mark, so at the end of the wall, we've added a section where you can sign it, literally, on the wall. So please go out and do that. We want to keep it as a keepsake.
Absolutely. But to talk a little bit more about some of the cool stuff that you guys have done since the last FanFest, look at some cool data as well, we're going to bring on stage CCB Larrikin, our senior data scientist, to just kind of break things down a little bit more. Give it up for CCB Larrikin.
Hello, FanFest. So I'm here to talk about some of the achievements you've made over the last 18 months or so. And I thought the most obvious place to start was to talk about moon goo. For those of you who aren't sure how to get moon goo, one of the ways you can do that is by using upoil refineries. And these are big structures that are deployed around moons, and they use like lasers and stuff to pull up chunks of the asteroid and explode it, and then you go and mine it. There is another way for lazier members of our player base, time poor members of our player base. That's to use Mentanox moon drills, which were introduced in Equinox. They don't require any physical mining. You don't need to bring mining ships out there. Instead, they kind of do the mining themselves. But in return, they're less efficient, they're more vulnerable, and if they do get reinforced and not destroyed, then you need to repair them as well, unlike some of the upoil structures. You might be familiar with this chart from the monthly economic report. This is actually showing the moon goo that is being produced each day over some time period. You can kind of see at the top there, those are R4s, and as we progress down, we go to R16s, 32s, and 64s. The orange there is the amount that's coming from those upoil refineries that I was talking about at the start. You can see it fairly spiky. That's because that's when the big chunks explode and then get mined. The green, however, is the Mentanox moon drills. They're more often used for low-end moons, the R4s and R8s, but they certainly are used occasionally for the R32s and even less for the R64s. Since they were introduced, you all have deployed almost 20,000 Mentanox in total. Around those Mentanox, you've had 5,900 or so battles. Now, what we did when we said around the Mentanox, we actually looked at kills that happened within 1,000 kilometres of a deployed Mentanox, and then we sort of linked all the kills together to form a battle and sort of see all of those battles that happened. That kind of means if you distributed all of the battles across all the Mentanox that had been deployed, you have around a 29 to 30% chance of having a battle around the Mentanox. Which is not bad. Now, of course, I would suspect, at least, those battles are happening a little bit more often around the R32s and 64s than the R4s, but I'm not going to judge. On average, each of those battles has had 30 characters involved. Some have had significantly more, and we'll talk about that shortly, and some have had a bunch less. In total, you all have destroyed 13 trillion ISK worth of ships in those battles, which is not bad. It's also interesting because if you have a look at the 19,800 Mentanox that were deployed, if you bought them all off on the market, they would also come to roughly 13 trillion ISK in value. Which kind of tells me, one main thing about EVE players, which is you don't play for the economics, you play for honour and ego. This chart here is actually showing the cumulative value of all of the kills that happened in these battles. Now, the very eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that there's a little bit of a spike near the start of this chart. I'll just point it out for those that missed it. This particular spike is actually the Battle of Ignoiten, which happened very soon after Mentanox were introduced. This was a battle between Deepwater hooligans and Snuffed Out. There were some other minor groups involved in the battle. I don't really know much about them. They're from the outer rim of the galaxy and they're very obsessed with donuts. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. This battle happened when Deepwater hooligans spied a snuffed Mentanox that was damaged. And Snuffed Out had jumped in a force auxiliary and they'd started repairing it. That's a throwback to what I mentioned at the start of the presentation. Deepwater hooligans decided, hey, this is obviously a trap, but we should totally trigger this trap and get a cool fight out of it. So they jumped in a whole bunch of faction battleships, and Snuffed immediately counter-dropped with their own faction battleships, and they shot at each other for a little while. Not much was dying. Both sides had force auxiliaries there, kind of keeping everything alive. And so some dreadnoughts were dropped, some Horde dreadnoughts. And then quickly that escalated, more and more dreadnoughts were involved, and then those minor groups obsessed with donuts also got involved towards the end. In total, over 3,000 dreadnoughts were involved. Sorry, 300, not 3,000, 300. Over 160 battleships, mostly faction, 81 interceptors, almost 170 assault frigates, and almost 300 battle cruisers. Over 2 trillion ISK worth of ships were destroyed, and over 1,400 characters were involved. That's a little more than the average of 30. It might be interesting to look at the escalation that happened during this battle. This particular chart, it tracks when different dreadnoughts jumped in. At the very start there, you can see there's like 2 Horde dreadnoughts. Sorry, for those of you who are not familiar with what a Horde dreadnought is, that's a dreadnought with high-angle weapons fitted to it. It does considerably less damage than an anti-capital dreadnought, but those weapons can actually track battleships, mostly. And they're used to kind of support your battleship fleets and, shoot up the other guys' battleship fleets. Then there was a minor escalation wave of 143 dreads. And finally, those minor groups piled in with whatever they had lying around too, for a total of 327 dreads involved. This red line here, these are the dreadnoughts exploding. You can obviously see what happened with the initial escalation wave. It started rapidly increasing. In fact, 60% of all the dreadnoughts that entered this battle were lost. Well, exploded. We know where they went. They died. But I'm going to move on a little bit from damage and looking at death, and we're actually going to take a bit of an exploration into electronic warfare in this battle. So this chart might be a little bit difficult to read, but what we're looking at is we're looking at all of the frigates that were involved in the battle, of which there are about 150, and we're looking at when they died, when they exploded, and the 5 minutes before they exploded, all of the electronic warfare effects that happened to that frigate. And then we're taking all 150 frigates, looking at the 5 minutes before, and then finding out what the average was of electronic warfare effects applied. So you can see the blue down the bottom, that's warp disruption. Unsurprisingly, most frigates that died had at least 1 and towards the end 2 warp disruptors on it. That's to stop them escaping. You can also see the green and pink here. They had, on average, about half a Weber fire and sort of about 0.7 of a target painter. That's to slow the frigate down and make it a little bit easier to hit. And then finally, neutralizers. Quite commonly, at least 1 neutralizer was applied. And that makes a big difference to frigates. Frigates don't have very much capacity, and if they get neutered out, they suddenly become very slow and very easy to get hit. We can compare this with the battleships that were destroyed during the battle. And you can see down the bottom there, in the blue, that's warp disruption, except instead of 2, we have an average of at least 10 to 12 warp disruptors. And on Weber fires, similar numbers, sort of 10 to 12. And then a whole bunch of newts up the top. So you might be asking yourself, that's a little bit weird. If you're trying to kill a frigate, you definitely want to get a Weber fire on it to slow it down. If you're trying to kill a battleship, well, they're not known for their speed, so why web them? Well, it just turns out that Weber fires are pretty short range and battleships are pretty slow, so it's easy to get webs on them. Whereas frigates are very fast and it's a little bit harder. You can also see the big chunk of neutralizers up there. As I was talking about at the start of this battle, there were those faction battleships shooting at each other, and they weren't really breaking that well, and putting neutralizers on them to try and shut down some of their resistance module is a good way to try and kill them. Finally, we can actually look at the dreadnoughts that were involved in the fight. You can see some warp disruptors as well, kind of an average of about 10 just before they died, and a bunch of newts. That's because those dreadnoughts were in siege, and when dreadnoughts are in siege, they can't get external helping effects like repairs and what have you. They just repair themselves, and the best way to shut that down is to remove all their capacitor. But we're going to move on from the Battle of Ignoiten and talk about the Battle of 1N TAC FJ8, which is kind of known as the Almost Titan Royal Flush. This was a battle between Fraternity and Initiative and their associated friends. In total, there were about 900 pilots involved, and Almost 4 trillion ISK was destroyed in this battle. This particular chart is actually showing the cumulative damage that happened over the entire battle. In total, Dreadnoughts did 40% of the damage in this battle. Titans did 36%. Supercarriers did 19%. And like everything else, did 5%. You may have noticed these spikes towards the front. Can anyone tell me what they think they were? Titans. They were the Titans dying. So for those of you in the audience that aren't Titan owners, Titans take around about 6 weeks to build, sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little less. A regular Tech 1 Titan costs somewhere between 100 and 200 billion fully fitted. But there are faction Titans, and they're a fair bit rarer, a little bit harder to get the blueprints or cost more to build. And they are valued somewhere between 400 and 800 billion fully fitted, that is, assuming you're not poverty fitting them. This is the Azariel, which is the Angel's Titan. And one of these exploded at this battle. This, on the other hand, is the Vanquisher. This was designed by the Serpentis, and I think it's the ship that can do the most potential DPS of any other ship in the game. But you may correct me, I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it is. This is the Komodo, designed by the Guristas. One of these died. Oh, sorry, one of the Vanquishers died as well. And finally, this is the Blood Raiders Titan, the Moloch. There were 2 Molochs on the battlefield, but none of them died. And I'm pretty sure that makes the Moloch the best Titan in the game. In total, 181 Dreadnoughts died, some Black Ops and Assault Frigates and what have you, 5 Titans as we were talking about, 2 of them were Tech 1 as well. Actually, you may have noticed these 16 heavy interdictors. Now again, for the non-Titan pilots in the audience, Titans are a little bit hard to hold down. If you just put a single warp disruptor on them, they'll laugh at you and warp off or jump off anyway. You need to put a whole bunch of warp disruptors on them, or you can bring a heavy interdictor, which can fit a special module, and use a infy point on them, which will stop them warping away, or put up a bubble. And actually this battle kind of started when a whole bunch of heavy interdiction cruisers were carrier conduit jumped into the battle to get the initial points. And carrier conduit jumps was something we added not so long ago. They're kind of like a Titan bridge, except the carrier comes with you, and you can also jump further too and not bring as many people. I do want to give a special shout out to Aurora and Ipro, who brought in Rorquals into the battle. They did 8,000 and 24,000 damage each, so a special clap for them. I'm going to choose to believe they were battle Rorqual pilots and not just looting capital modules. Finally, we have the Battle of Waffle. That bunch of numbers at the back, that's a wormhole system, but we're going to call it Waffle because I don't know how to pronounce that. This is part of the War in Heaven. So for those of you who aren't wormholers, by the way, Waffles is a C6 wormhole. That's the highest end, the most dangerous and lucrative type of wormhole. And it has a C6 static. A static wormhole means that there will always be a wormhole from Waffles going to another C6 system. If you collapse it, it'll open up again. Another one will open up straight away to another C6 system. This was part of the war between Cindy and Hawks. And Cindy was kind of attacking Hawks and wanting to take over more of C6 space. Cindy was using Waffles to rage roll C6 systems. Rage rolling means using that static, going through, trying to find targets on the side. If it's not what you want, you collapse it, another one opens up, you go through that, and you keep on cycling that C6 until you find targets that you want to destroy, or farm holes that you want to take over, or what have you, which is what they were using it for. Cindy unfortunately lost, well, unfortunately for them, they lost Waffles, and it was taken over by Hawks. But a whole bunch of Cindy capitals and assets were stuck in the system, and they really wanted to get them out, which is fair enough. Capitals are a little bit hard to get into wormhole space. So Cindy were chasing a connection to this wormhole, and they managed to get a connection to Waffles, and they committed, and this fight is kind of the result of that, them trying to evac those assets. In total, 137 kill males were generated. About 330 billion ISK worth of ships was destroyed. Of those ships, there were 14 dreadnoughts, 4 carriers, 19 interdictors, and 54 other ships. And those dreadnoughts, by the way, they're kind of well, at least some of them put super capital fits to shame. They were expensive dreadnoughts. A lot of them were Phoenix Navy issues. They're sort of worth 20 bill fully fit. And they basically are the super carriers of wormhole space. Over 19.4 million damage was applied during the battle. And Blue Status Confirmed did 1.6 million damage, and Paranoic did 1 million. Both of them were flying Phoenix Navy issues. So there were 184 characters involved in this battle. But I thought it might be interesting to look at the players behind those characters, the people piloting them. On average, each person was piloting 1.6 characters involved in that battle. 16 players were piloting 4 or more characters involved in the battle. And one particular player was piloting 14. Now, I'm not suggesting that that player was using all 14 at once. They may have been, I'm not going to judge, but over the course of the battle, they were using at least 14 different characters. But remember, this battle this wasn't just about the fight that was happening. There were all these assets that were trying to get sort of evacuated at the same time. And so inside Waffle, during the battle, there were actually 130 characters active, over 2 per player on average. 42 of the players active in the solar system during the battle were controlling 4 or more characters, and one particular player was controlling 29. But that's for me. I'm done. We're going to bring back the stars of the show now. I'll see you later at Fanfest.
Is someone opening the door?
We can open the door, surely. Woo!
Hello again.
Thank you, CCB Larrikin. That was pretty dope. You guys are crazy. All the stuff that you do, all the stories you tell, absolutely astounding. And FanFest is just celebrating moments like that that just happen all the time. But let's kind of go over the schedule for the rest of the day, just to get some formalities out of the way so you know what to keep an eye out for. That's not the last. We'll hear from CCB Larrikin. We'll see a little bit more from him and more people from the data team. Over in another venue, we'll also have the Little Things panel, which will be a ton of fun. I know CCB K1P1 is very excited for that.
But before that, we have Dr. Ronald Turner, who is going to take over from us. And he's not just a NASA scientist, he's also an EVE player, so he knows how this works.
And then after that, we have some, big wigs from the NPSI communities, Sinalarma, Kashal, Aderon, and Kiakti. They'll be on stage talking about a little bit about what they do and how they make EVE awesome in their ways.
And then last on the schedule, but definitely not the least, we have the EVE keynote closing out today. We're going to learn a lot of new cool things, and we expect you all here.
Absolutely. You don't want to miss it. We'll put in some spoilers maybe for the keynote. No. We're not allowed to do that. Looking ahead to tomorrow, also a packed day. We'll be talking about the keynote in a lot more detail as well. Not the keynote, the next expansion, which will be at the keynote today. That's the spoiler. And absolutely just nerd out with each other. There's some really cool panels, really interesting talks. Kill males, I wonder what that one's about. Weird.
Also, of course, this is assuming you all survive the pub crawl tonight. Please do. We'll make sure to keep the lights dimmed a little in the morning so we can all wake up and recover. But do be there. And so you don't get lost, can we pull up a map?
Yeah.
Not that one.
Shit. Wrong map.
So, Harpa. Some of you have been here before, some of you have not. Right now we are in number 1, also known as Jake the Dog. And You know, so if you orientate yourself a little bit, all the rest of Fanfest, there.
Yep. Just pretend like you're going to Fountain. That's how I keep my bearings straight. Everything is like, oh, Vino's up there, Fountain, Tenerife's. That's how I keep things going. But don't just stay in Harpa. Obviously, we want you to go out there, and assuming the weather's okay, do some a bit of exploring. One thing you definitely don't want to miss out on is the Eve Monument. It's really cool to just find your name etched into this cool thing. I'll give you one piece of advice. When you guys are going out there, make sure not to tell too many of your courtmates who aren't here, because otherwise you'll end up like these two, just sitting there for hours, making sure to get pictures of everyone's name, going through the whole thing. One other last little bit, and this will prepare you for the expansion keynote tomorrow. Tonight, once you get home, before the pub crawl, maybe, if you're not familiar with the NFL, Google Jason Kelsey plus Tush Push. Make sure to put both of them out there, and you'll be prepared then for what CCBK 1P1 is going to talk about.
There she was.
Not sponsored.
We are sponsored, though, by all these amazing companies. Please give it up for them. They help make Fanfest happen.
They've also supplied some cool things that you might be able to win, whether you're at FanFest or actually at home as well in Twitch chat. So just keep an eye out throughout the day. Maybe go check out the Eve leaderboards as well, and see what you can kind of bring home a piece of FanFest.
That's it for us. We're gonna walk off. Come say hi in the hallway. We want your swag.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
What a keynote. Goodness gracious. Amy, what'd you think? We got to see a little bit, just a little. What'd you think of what you saw?
I mean, I think it was nice. Well, it wasn't a keynote, it was opening ceremony. We're just starting off. We're warming up step by step, right? So I think it was a really nice wrap-up of things that have happened, a bit of a hype of what's coming up, a good combination of everything.
I agree. I love seeing all the work that the Capsuleers do put into a macro sense. We can get bogged down with what I'm doing today and how many times I click my PI button, okay? And seeing it in a grander scheme. Did y'all see it was trillions of ISK on just Metanoxes alone in those fights? That alone, man, y'all are fighting those moon drills more than I thought. Okay, that's crazy.
But it's not about the ISK, right? That's what I said as well. Apparently, it's not about ISK.
It's about the people.
It's about the people.
It's about the people. I love seeing that stuff. And that trophy, what'd you think of that trophy for the
Alliance
Alliance
I love it.
tournament?
I love it. I can't wait to actually go closer to it and take a look at it.
Yeah.
I think I'm hoping we can show it to you guys later as well, as close as possible. But it looks pretty amazing in my opinion.
And it was hard to see. We were in the casting booth, just seeing what was up. Did they etch the names of the teams on the trophy?
I think so.
Wow.
I think those are the winning teams,
That's
and they
their
left smartly enough space.
Wow.
For the next one, so it's a really good motivation, I think, for those.
I think so.
Those who have been trying, right? It's I need my team's name on it.
Yeah,
I think
not
that's
just
cool.
the best ships in the game, also putting your actual team name on the trophy itself. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, y'all can see behind us, everybody's coming out of the main room. It was really incredible to see that massive room filled with Capsuleers. I got to tell you, one of the best parts of FanFest is seeing the sheer amount of people, because you see that, concurrent viewer, or let's call it concurrent account thing whenever you go to the login, right? And you see that and you think, 20,000. But to see all these people walking around, I mean, look at the crowds behind us, Amy. That is crazy.
Can you see it? You can definitely see it. That's amazing.
Each one of them owns 3 accounts. I mean,
or 10. I know
10.
there's a guy with 2,604 accounts.
2,000. I hope
not
all
almost
of them
3,000.
are omega'd up for your own sake, my friend.
It's a special project, though.
It's a special project. That's crazy.
No.
Well, it's definitely great to see all the different pilots and play styles coming in. Amy, when did you start playing Eve? When did you begin your journey?
The noob reporting for duty. I started in July 2023. So it's a bit of
So recent.
It's so recent, yeah. It hasn't been even 2 years. And my first Fanfest 2023, the last Fanfest, was 2 months after I started playing EVE.
Wow, you dove in.
I was
Okay.
like full on. But I'm going to be honest, and we talk a lot about the community here, right? We talk
Yes.
about the people a lot. We are saying how amazing it is to meet people. But I'm not 100% sure anymore if I would still be playing EVE if I wouldn't have been at FanFest. Because being with everybody, meeting people, like seeing how excited, it's just so, you catch it.
Yes.
It's really catching on you, like seeing how people are excited, and then you go home like, yeah, I need to do that as well. I have a whole new outlook already now again from this FanFest on like what am I gonna do when I get home, right? So
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
What about you? When did you start?
Gosh, I started in 2008, and I remember as I was in my best friend's house doing like a little LAN party Thursday night, whatever action, and he was like, "I've been playing this game EVE Online." I was like, "I'll check it out," you know.
What can go wrong?
What can go wrong? Because I grew up on Guild Wars 1, you know, take me to God's country, Chan, take me to Tyria, sheesh. And Guild Wars 1 and World of Warcraft. And we were kind of like, I don't know about WoW. Yeah, it's at the time, I was not sure about it. And he was like, well, why don't we try EVE Online? He's been playing for a while. He invited me to his nullsec corp. I started off as like a little... like 1 million skill point person, and I had so low ship requirements that in the big fleets they gave me. I skilled into I still remember. I skilled into a carries, and they had me be a scout on like the forward line, and they're like, "Oh, look, you're not going to see any action. You know, you're not going to just report back if you see like a newt in system." I got to watch local spike with hundreds of people because they happened to sino in where I was in my system. So that was, so I, you know, unmute and I go, FC, what's the like, Tom Hanks, Houston, we have a problem. And that was me to that first everything. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's interesting that you played so recently, and you say that the community is one of the reasons that you actually stuck in and stuck around. I find that a lot in these kind of games, specifically MMOs, but really in EVE Online itself, because EVE is such a social game where the content is player driven. It's not driven by anybody that is like an NPC. You might have a quest giver, but it's not something that's like, I'm not going to go tell my buddy, oh man, I did this really cool level 4 the other day. You know,
but here you can. Here you can. Here they will be super excited about that.
Here, you are correct. I am going to tell my buddy, yo, I went to go do this level 4. And I saw this prospect uncloak on grid, so I got out as I watched 10 Catalyst warp in. It's the players that drive stuff. So, yeah.
But I say this a lot. I mean, EVE is one of those games that, yes, you're playing it in the game client, but even more games being played outside of it. You have the communications in Discord, and that creates families, that creates friendships, that creates connections. That's I think we can't really describe that. I think everybody that plays EVE knows it, right? You have people that you've been probably talking as minimum once per week on Discord for some of you like 20 plus years, right? Some you haven't met, some you meet here, which is also really amazing.
It's crazy.
But there's so much game that is happening outside. Like shout out to our amazing third-party developers. I mean, we have
shout out to you, Squiz. I know you're in chat somewhere. You know, I know you're there.
Right, like can you imagine playing EVE without Skillboard?
I can't.
No.
We got EVE Workbench, Zkill, and I don't know the exact name of all the PI tools I use, but they're in one of the videos I made, chat. Sheesh. So, shameless plug. Come on now, you know what I'm saying. No, this is 100% correct, that the amount of stuff in EVE, it goes beyond the game.
Yeah.
It goes beyond the actual, like, I sign in and talk to Corp Chat or Alliance Chat, whatever the heck. It really is. I talk to these people as much as I talk to my wife, as much as I talk to my friends, because at the end of the day, if we're signing in and defending our area of space, we're all friends. We're all here. And I'll go so far as to say, and this is my like hot take, Amy, even the people on the other side of the opposing alliances.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. They're not my enemy. They're my rival, you know. Close
You're
enough.
their friends.
Yeah, we're all capsuleers at the end of the day, and just because you pod me and I pod you, doesn't mean there's hate there. We're all trying to make some isk and have a good time doing it. You know what I'm saying?
No. And also, like, let's be honest, like, Lauren, sorry, if your wife is watching, please mute it. And now admit us, you're talking with people more than your wife, right?
You know.
Let's be honest.
You know,
we are all a
might
bit guilty
be,
of that once in a while.
I do send her quite a few messages. Hi, honey. I miss you. You know, so. Yes. No, it's really awesome to be able to see the names to the faces and to, like, actually walk around and to see the symbols of the corporation that you are in, walk around, and just be able to go, hey, I recognize that. Oh, hey, they ganked me, or hey, you know, such and such corp. You guys are on the other side. It's really cool to see everybody in the flesh. So.
And also, once you've met these people, also the communication in game changes.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We want to say there's no politics at FanFest, but obviously creating these connections with each other, it helps. It helps over time. But it's still also between just like your own corporation. Like you've seen each other in real life, right? Like you've struggled. You had that really hard morning one day in FanFest and this very late night, super windy road back to your hotel maybe with another. And it connects people and those memories stay. And in the end, we're on top of the world, like literally. Right
it's
now.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's been very beautiful. And I got to tell you, when you're looking up the weather, you see wind and rain for Iceland. And we've been very blessed, thank you God, that it's been cloudy. It's Iceland. There's going to be clouds. But there hasn't really been a lot of rain. It was kind of schwitzing before when I came over, a little bit sprinkle, you know. But nothing crazy in terms of the rain. It's been really, really pretty. The air, brisk. Brisk.
And the water.
Yeah.
Like
I got to go see the black basalt beach. I haven't been there yet.
That's very far off, I think.
Have
No,
you
I
seen
haven't.
it? Oh, man.
I
Is
haven't.
it too far? I might not
I
be
think
able
it's
to.
too far. But also I just wanted to say, in Iceland, and it's everybody that's here or planning to come, the saying goes, if you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes. And
Yes.
it's going to be much better.
I did
Anyways,
bring a
let's try
poncho.
Let's try to go back to Eve because, I mean, we are super excited to be in Iceland and here, so we are full of impressions. But for those watching at home, back to Eve. What's your favorite memory from Eve?
Favorite? That is tough.
Or the most impression that left you? Or the one that you go back to in your head, like, that was the Eve moment for me.
I already told you the Sino story.
Yeah.
When I was brand new. I do remember my first time. My first time ever. It just kind of, once the lightning bolt hits, there it is. The first time I ever went into a shattered wormhole, I didn't know what it was. So I'm in my Proteus, or no, I think it was in an exploration ship. I was in my Heron or, some T1 ship. I think it was a T1 ship because I was terrified to do anything. And I scanned down the wormhole and I'm like, man, this looks different. I was using those visual wormhole guides.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell what kind of wormhole it was. And I've never seen this color before, sure. I go in and I'm like, well, I'll do what I normally do. You warp to a celestial, you make a line safe, you make a poly safe, all these other things.
Forget the cloak.
And I did forget, I remember to mark the entrance wormhole. Okay. So as one does, you always have to bookmark your entrance wormhole. I forgot, of course. So I'm going to a planet and I look, not only is there a mob I've never seen before, some sleeper, and I didn't know these were in the game because at the time I was newer, right? I see the planet is in pieces, and I haven't had a hair stand up on the back of my neck moment until that happened, and I was like, where am I right now? And I open up my probe scanner window, and I see hundreds of entries, right? Because that's what Shatter System is, and now it's not a Shatter System, now it's a Drifter System, right? So, and that was the first time I was ever in there. I left very fast. Okay, once I was able to scan down my home wormhole, okay, because that was the main problem, was I couldn't find a way to get out. So, chat, we're going to zoom in now. You can see every pore, every pimple. So, please be gentle. Okay, I earned these dark circles. I am not ashamed of them. Thank you very much.
Those are the Eve marks.
That is.
Those are the real life Eve marks.
This is what it looks like to this. You may not like it, chat, but this is what peak capsuleer physique looks like. Okay.
How many years is it? It's 17.
That is wild
This is how 17
to say.
years of Eve looks like. This is what 2 years of
If
Eve
you just
looks
saw
like.
wrinkles just appear, because I felt that. What's the Matt Damon gif? When you say you've been playing Eve for 17 years, I'm like, yeah.
That hurts, right?
So
yeah.
It does, and it doesn't, because I've enjoyed this time. I like to talk about fun per hour over ISK per hour. That you have your machines that make you ISK, right? You have your PI, your Abyss. And you can do those if you want to grind some ISK, of course.
Yeah.
But if you're not having fun, there's no point. And that's where the community comes in. So that's my favorite memory. What about you, Amy? What about you?
I kind of shot myself in the leg when I asked it, because then I had to start thinking about mine, and I realized that because I'm so new in game, for me it's I still am getting all of my firsts all the time, and whenever I get a new first, it's my favorite moment. Like when I remember when I first time went into Null, that was exciting. When I first went into my what I call grown-up fleet, meaning with pilots that know what they're doing, we went out in the Null. I thought that was exciting, and that was the most exciting thing. When I first, when I even started to scan wormholes for the first time, I thought that was exciting. Like I got completely super focused on a Pathfinder because I found that amazing.
Oh, Pathfinder.
I got war decked like 2
Yeah,
weeks
you
ago. I've been talking about it a lot, I know,
Yeah, you
but
did.
I found it exciting. Right now, it genuinely has been exciting because I'm learning all these things like around and about it, and it's. I mean, we're getting so much support from alliances that are maybe not the friendliest out there, but that is the exciting part. And I think every time I have these new experiences, it's exciting. I think it's going to stop at some point because all the news will have been, experienced, and at that point, it's going to be like topping it. I mean,
Yes.
first time I logied, I'm like,
Yep.
I think I was born to be a logi, so I'm waiting for those
Logi's good.
kill mails for logis.
We need more Logi pilots.
Yeah.
You want a guaranteed fleet spot. I used to say you want a guaranteed raid spot. You get in a healing class. In Eve, it's no different. You want a guaranteed fleet spot. Get in a Logi ship. Okay, Yeah, it's as you were saying that, I thought of, we do fleets every Friday, like open NPSI for the new bros. It's not purple shoot it. If you're not in fleet, we're going to come after you, we're going to take you out. That's like how that goes. And we like to do some faction warfare, and we take a kitchen sink cruiser fleet to the Friday fleet, as we call it, right? And it's a lot of fun because every time, since we're so new bro friendly, we advertise it as like, look, we'll answer your questions. How do you want to do this? How do you want to we have people going, how do I add something to watch list? How do I don't see that mob on my overview. How do I add it to that? We like to help the new bros to help them out. And we actually had, with that kitchen sink fleet, somebody yeeted a Naglfar, and I always mispronounce that one, and they actually took it out with a kitchen sink cruiser fleet as it was getting like third party. It was a lot of fun. And we got people that have never been in a PvP fleet before showing up, and they get to whelp a capital ship? Come on now. This is one of the best parts of Eve. You get to be the raid boss if you fly a capital ship. So.
And I think also all the events that are happening in game are really great for this, like Frigates for All, shout out to them, like one of my favorite events in a year. I was so bummed out I couldn't do it this year. I was traveling, but it's like these things are also, it's just this wilder, kind of like maybe easier entry into PvP for a lot of people. At least it was for me. I remember I ventured in there and I was like, let's go, and things are happening. It's like, okay, I get it now a little bit, I'm not being handheld at the moment, so...
Right.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And you mentioned the Frigate Free-for-All, which, again, shout out to Rix. God bless you, man, for you and your team for planning that. That is I think it's yearly? Is it yearly, or is it twice a year?
No, I think it's yearly, like in the spring. This year it was end of March.
Yeah, it's a yearly event. All player events are the biggest events in EVE, typically. Like the recent Drifter stuff that CCP Games has been doing leading up to whatever the new expansion is. We don't know, Chad. I don't ask.
They don't tell us anything.
You know me. I don't want them to tell me anything, so I'm not on stream like, wow, that looks like the new... And just get very panicky, So I know some of you are going to clip that face. Enjoy it. Thank you very much. So, no, this is my main point, is that player-driven events, the fact that EVE Online has call it a content economy that is driven by the players is pretty unique. You see this in other MMOs, but really not to the extent that it's done in EVE. And I'm not just talking about, hey, FC, somebody's on, our ESS grid, and why Cloaked Vargar, don't tell Crash Naps. The point is we have a game and a community that's actually driven by the players. And I think that's one of the reasons why EVE is so unique. And the jokes have been made that, like, who needs GTA 6 when you got EVE Online?
I mean,
we have the organic
that.
content.
I agree with that.
So, yeah.
I mean, but that is true, right? Like very recently, I don't remember what was the name of the corporation or alliance, but they went after the Keepstar. Do you remember, like a couple of weeks ago?
I'm not sure.
It was a big thing. It was one of the bigger fights of the last couple of months.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the exact corp because they pinged me and they were saying,
it was genuinely just a let's go, let's have fun kind of a thing. Big one. But I mean, it was like players being like, let's just do something, right? And it was a big thing. It was I mean, everybody. I think everybody was there.
Oh,
or
it was
everybody
so-
watched
it was
it at
huge.
least. It was
I
huge.
couldn't do it because I was prepping for FanFest and some other NDA'd things. Okay, and I love getting those pings. I'm sure you do too. And a lot of no blocks are doing that. A lot of other
Yeah.
corps are like, "Hey, I have a Dread Brawl going on. I want to come out and cast it. Hey, I have XYZ, structure that's getting hit. Want to come out and be a part of it?" Yes, we do. Keep pinging us. We'll see if we can cover it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
no,
great
it's
stuff.
exciting.
So, fantastic stuff, Amy.
So
Excellent.
I was at the end of last year. I made a really cool recap of the year, of all the information I could find, like on Skillboard and everything. And then I asked also people what was their favorite things. We had some really interesting. I mean, hello, I stream. What a surprise! For those who don't know, hi, I'm Amiyomia. But we had one of these very interesting things that we do LAN parties.
Yes.
We try to do that like twice a year, where we have around 8 to 10, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less, people that play EVE coming over to our house. Trust me, guys, it looks and smells the same as it did in the 90s, so it feels
the
exactly
best
the
smell:
same.
pizza, Coca-Cola,
Red
and,
Bull,
EVE Online.
vodka.
Yeah.
Well, 90s wasn't really vodka age for me yet, but yeah.
I'm about to say.
I imagine that was
smells
the
just
smell.
like it did in high school. Tons of vodka.
Sort of. But so anyways, the thing is that we're doing this, right? And we're doing these fleets and we're having fun. We're going on for like 24 hours, or actually more, almost 30 hours. It's a whole weekend. Everybody's having fun. Everybody loves to see that as well. Everybody is brought back to being a teenager. But then EVE still goes on. So we had a situation actually, and we had somebody come in on my stream also talk about it, where they had to do a move off because they were changing big alliances, and they were doing it on during the stream in LAN party with a camera actually being. We had 3 cameras, and one was pointed towards their laptop, and I was
They
like,
weren't opsecing their move, were they?
"Oh, but that was a big move. It was a big OPSEC move." And the worst part was, somebody did hear some info over my microphone.
Yep.
They got out safe. Me.
Steal. We're being stolen. I'll stay.
I'm being stolen. Okay.
I'm staying, chat.
I
Don't worry.
I thought something I shouldn't have.
I believe in you. Okay, yes. OPSEC, dangerous. Yes. It is now me, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, it's me, your host, Loru. Pay no attention to the giant nose and the receding hairline. Your favorite EVE Online content is happening right here. And y'all, I got to tell you, if you haven't seen the sheer amount of work that has been going in behind the scenes, I'm showing up, and B and the team are pointing, Loru, go here, Loru, go there. The sheer amount of work that's gone into this, it's really awesome. So I can't see Twitch chat, but I already know. Can we get some claps in chat for CCP Games? The sheer amount of stuff that's going on. Lumi and Swift killed it there. Tech stuff, the booth, the hundreds of people working from morning hours. I asked B, what time did you get up this morning? And he kind of like laughed. If you understand, right? Everybody's going absolutely ham for this excellent event here. Thank you for spamming the emojis. Y'all are doing great stuff here. So we'd love to see it. Amy's working a camera right now. She's going to set up a roaming view coming in for this. And many of you have been tuning in to her stuff. Are you coming back over, or are you gonna go stuff? So yes. Yeah, you want to show the people, because they've been seeing your like camera view. So many of you have been seeing Amy's view on her camera, but this is what it looks like behind the scenes. It's she's and we as a community, I don't think this has ever been done before. I think you're the first to do this kind of roaming setup for FanFest to see just how it is.
But
So,
I think I am
excuse
the
me,
first
yes.
one. Yeah, we did it last year, and now we're
Yes.
doing it again. So we've been doing it since the whole week. I'm already like, oh, is it over?
I know.
No.
You're doing a lot of work
It's
too.
exciting.
you
But
know.
we keep on going in the evenings after CCP streams stuff. But I think there's gonna come a moment when, well, can you actually
Hold the mic, here you go.
I don't know which camera and which sound they're listening to me. There's gonna come a moment when we're gonna switch to this camera in a
Yes.
second. We're gonna try to take you guys around as well to show you what's happening here, so you see everything.
We are about to switch to the roaming camera. Whenever that goes, I will hear and I will tell you, Amy, what's going on. We're going to show you around FanFest. We're going to stop with the static background, okay? And Amy and I are going to walk around FanFest and talk to some of the people that are on the floor, show off some of the booths, show off some of the merch. We got a lot of awesome stuff to show you. We were doing this a little bit yesterday, but there's so many more people, and there's a whole other floor opened up. I don't know what operatic choir is behind me right now, if y'all can hear that live, but we are in this beautiful harpa with an excellent background music. I thought Master Chief himself was about to start showing up and walk around with the Halo audio going on right now. So we are switched officially. We are on to that camera. Everybody, we'll see you soon. We are
are switched officially. You're on that camera. Everybody
Yeah.
sees you.
Hey, we're still here, see? Nobody has gotten lost. We're getting Laura to join us, and we're going to take you around. Let's go. We also have found
20 minutes.
We have 20 minutes. Let's go. Let's run.
Hi, Chad.
Hi, Chad. So Laura will keep an eye on the chat
will keep
because
an eye on the
I will keep an eye on the camera.
I'm going to set a 20-minute timer, too.
And you can see us. You can see this amazing view right now. Capsuleers have already gotten a little bit spread out through the 2 floors, so it's a bit calmer. This is where they just flown out from the big hall, and I will not try to pronounce that because the names are Icelandic, and we don't trust those.
All right, Chad.
All right, let's go.
Bindum, how we doing?
No.
Here, you want to? I'll hold the camera so you can go under. We have.
Can't
a
we
gate
just open
here.
it?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We can act like grown-ups here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, here we go. All right, we are out and about in the wild. Say hi to your fellow capsuleers here.
Say hi, Capsuleers. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. And we're gonna... Hello, Shio.
Walk around.
So we're gonna try to right now find the... We really want to see... We discussed what we want to see. We really want to see the history wall.
Yeah, where's that?
CCP has made this really huge, big wall of... how many? 22 years
Something
now?
like that. All the history of Eve. They got this big wall.
Yeah.
Let's walk. Do you know where it is?
Actually, I don't.
Here, let me ask you.
I can, well, he asked, we can show you there's more halls. There's just not just the only one that you're seeing. You also see a lot of smiling faces.
Let's walk downstairs. Let's go.
We have found it? Isn't it upstairs?
Is it upstairs?
I thought that B said it's upstairs.
Let's walk around and find
Let's first show there. Let's explore this floor because we haven't seen it
We
yet.
haven't seen this floor yet. Let's
There is a whole extra area here.
find out. Hi, Capsuleers. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hello, everybody.
Can y'all hear us okay? Everybody wave in the Twitch chat and see if you can hear
Yeah.
us. Okay? We're walking around. All this was empty yesterday.
This was not even open.
And this isn't even the main floor. This is like the second floor where everything else is. Looking good so far.
I missed the hole by that
Hi,
much.
Chad. Good to see you. Bindum, I see you. Kostiker, I see you. Freaky, I see you. Kiara, what's up? Nick Tar. A Tribune, Chibi Ratchet.
Do you guys know
Jeff, good
where
to
the
see
wall
you.
of history
Viper.
No, you don't.
Viper, Dave, good to see you. Swedish Bikini, Nth, what's up, Nth? How we doing? We got Snook, Dubstep, Momo, Mr. Domax. We're walking around. How we doing? Good. Yeah, everybody coming in.
I mean, guys, pay attention to the fact that wherever you go, you will find Alliance flags.
Yes, you will only find Alliance flags.
I don't know, bigger, smaller. Here's another one. There was Boss. Here comes Horde. Hey, say hi to stream.
Wave.
Hi, stream.
Hi,
There's
stream.
Boss sitting.
Boss doing it. Look at this view. Can we show them this
Oh,
view?
we can try. We can try. Like we are doing it with. There's more
I think it's on the
capsules
other
over
side.
there.
We'll have to go to the other side. You got it.
There's more flags.
Look at this, y'all. Okay.
Can you see
This
Iceland?
is what you get in Iceland, y'all. And maybe
Yeah.
the wide-angle lens. I'm not sure if y'all can see the detail on the mountain. We got clouds coming off the mountain. Beautiful beach, beautiful city of Reykjavik. We got it coming in. And camera filming, camera showing, Amy showing.
We're gonna have Inception in a bit. We're gonna turn. We're gonna have a camera Inception. Look. Are you feeling like kind of people are watching you?
I think so.
I feel like somebody's watching
Why
me
don't we go
now.
down to the first floor and see?
I want to show the flags there still
yeah,
quickly.
yeah, I see that. Yes. Let's see.
I feel like there's like more flags coming up, which
We're
is
in
super
like a
awesome.
side area. This is a specific
A bit
spot.
quieter.
I think we found a meeting spot for a certain alliance.
So it
You
seems.
might-
So
you
it
might
seems.
recognize it. Let's see if we can see who they are. Y'all want to wave to stream? What's up, guys? You want to wave to stream? Want to say
Wave
hi
to
to
the
the
stream.
CCP Games stream?
Hi, CCP Games.
What's up? You know?
Hello, fellow capsuleers. Look, there's
What's
like
up?
3 flags up here.
I love it.
And
And another one behind us.
See? We love it.
Yeah.
We love to see it. Okay.
We've been roaming around for like 3 minutes and we've seen already how many flags?
This
6?
is like the 10th, or I saw like 10.
Yeah. See, we are still trying to find that wall, that famous wall.
We're gonna find it.
Maybe if Bjorn is watching, he can suggest us where to go.
It's peaceful coming in clutch, saying second floor. on the memory wall is on the second floor.
Okay, but we are on the second floor.
We're
Where
on
is
the
it?
second floor, so if we keep walking, we're gonna.
At some point, we'll find
This is
it.
the authentic FanFest experience, Amy.
Exactly.
Walking around, locating the spot that we need to go to.
Exactly, and I have to say honestly, last time, even though the hallway was way smaller, it was still the same. You just walk and you suddenly take like a little turn and you find something new. What is it? What is chat saying? What's so
Chat
funny?
saying looking for a wall is peak content.
We're looking for a wall.
That's the way it is, man. I tell you. It's right. You are correct about it. I keep seeing a certain Minmatar fleet propaganda all over the walls. Bear that cares. Y'all are doing the most.
Also, I think now you can't see very well. Hi guys, but there is also a really nicely EVE Online and EVE Fanfest shown. We were close, but not close enough, I think, for the wall. Let's try there. These are the famous stairs. Before we close off the stream, we will show you them from the bottom because they look magnificent.
It's absolutely fantastic.
They look amazing.
Where are the goons? Everywhere. Always.
Yeah,
Forever.
they're in every corner.
You are never safe in Eve.
Or there's the thing, they might be a little bit tired today.
That's true.
Because they had quite a party last
quite
night.
a meetup.
And I heard, I think around 4 or 5 people lost their voices.
Yes. Central Point.
I feel like I see the person with 2,600 accounts.
Yes. Well, they might be that.
Here.
Keep seeing all the alts. They're camping at the gate is right.
Yes.
They're camping at the gate, that's right.
All right.
What's up, Chip? That's right, dude. We gotta get the fleet stuff going. We found it.
Yes, there's the wall.
Yes. Okay.
Well, this is 13. This is the wrong year.
Where's the beginning?
I think the year
Here's 2015.
15, 16.
Maybe on the other side.
Let's start from the beginning, you know? Okay. Look at this, chat. Look at that. There's a whole, how many meters long wall showing the whole history of EVE. Let's go. Let's go.
We got, look at this Triglavian Praezoria coming in. Drake CSM right here. The Triangle Man. Good to see you, Drake. Say hi to stream.
Good now. Hello, everybody.
Yes.
How are you doing? How are you enjoying?
Very tired after your last night.
You had a good night?
No, very good.
I feel like everybody has a little fatigue today.
Everybody's kind of like, good morning.
And after
Good,
the full tonight, they're going to
exactly.
be even more fatigued tomorrow.
Exactly.
Good to see you, man. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's nice to jump. Yeah, nice to jump into you.
I'll see you in the media center tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right,
But it was funny.
let's go. Year is 2003, and we have a new universe, a new rules.
Started in 2003.
Why?
I just don't feel, in my brain, it started in like 2007, 2006. I don't remember. It's 2003. I was
It is
still
insane.
in high school, y'all.
It's insane. I want to point out something that I really liked last time when I saw this. The recommended setup for the computer.
Yes.
Windows 2000.
Guys, just download more RAM. Do you have 1 meg of RAM? Just download
And
more.
I like the fact that there's added network, high-speed connection with the internet is
telling you.
required.
Do y'all listen, guys? The patches we get are 6 gigs now. Goodness gracious!
Yeah, you gotta like. Here's the thing. Let's find some fun facts about this because I remember I was.
Feature, not a bug. Jet can mining launched at the start of the game, intended as a debug feature.
Yeah.
Jet canning was a debug feature. Now it's part of it.
Yeah.
Miners were supposed to return to the stations with their minimals to drop them off. Instead, indie ships would just have containers of ore to the station while miners continued on the belt. That happens to this day. Look at, I don't know if you could see that, Amy. Look at this UI.
Wow.
Is that a triple prop mod like Iteron or something? Is everything okay? Right? Crazy. It looks like triple afterburner. Maybe it's just a GIF or an image, whatever, but that's horrifying.
Yeah,
I'll
no.
have to fix the fit later.
That's true. Also, here is like the first alliances were forming.
Yes.
So what I think. Oh, look, people already have put their.
Got the pins up.
They got the
See it?
pins up.
See some goodies.
But wasn't Ushra Khan? I think that should be somewhere on the wall. That Ushra Khan was the first one. Am I wrong
Oh, no.
about it?
Does it say? First alliance emerge.
So
These
included.
right here. Yep. Ushrakani, you see the
Yeah.
stuff is there, right? Stain alliance, first alliance.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Do y'all see, Amy, is this a mining thorax? Do my eyes deceive me? Is this a ore with mine
Wow, look at
lasers
that- look
in a
at that,
thorax?
you-
Look at that mining ship.
Look at how Eve looked like.
Pepperidge Farm remembers, ladies and gentlemen. Right. And it does say the Apocalypse and the Tempest were mining. That was correct. But we are,
Yeah.
Thorax Cruiser. Do y'all remember mining in a thorax, brother? That's a heck of a thing. And then, of course, the CSM.
Yes.
Original
started.
CSM was conceived in 2001 during the game's design phase.
Oh wow, that's even before.
That's pretty awesome. And you can see by this, we talk about the CSM on stream a lot and how this is a big deal. That the fact that they include player feedback from the beginning. Again, I think it's one of the reasons why EVE has lasted as long as it has comparatively to other MMOs. Because you actually have the devs listening to you before the game is even launched. They're like, look, we need to hear from the people. 2001, pretty awesome.
That's how you make a game. That's how you make a game. All right, let's move to the next year before we get, we have to, we only have like 12 minutes, I think.
We have 10 minutes, yeah.
We're gonna have to continue this all day long.
Let's see, first FanFest, 2004.
2004, guys, I just want to add, chat, we keep doing a lot of trivia and a lot of quizzes on my stream. This is your learning moment. Like, this is a question coming in. When was the first FanFest, right?
Yes.
It's a really good trivia question. Where's my Imperial issue apocalypse? That probably was the same year that Dude, Where's My Car happened.
Right.
Do you want me to take the camera?
No, because I was pointing last time, so now it's
Okay.
your turn. Right.
Okay,
Easy
well-
peasy. Let's see what we got. Zombie Corporation? What is
The
that?
siege to
Is
July
that a-
Market Hub. In March, a group of capsuleers united under the Zombie Inc. Corporation
Wow.
established a successful siege of one of the July system games.
Is that a corporation of exclusively undead people? Is that why they name it this?
Maybe.
We got a Guinness World Record? Is that this?
Multiple new world records were set by CCP Games in 2004 for consecutive players. 12 January, 5,840 players.
Look how fast it was growing.
February 2, 6,800. It's like 1,000 more.
25th
2
April,
weeks later,
10K people.
another half a thousand
I'm zooming
added.
for y'all.
10,000 players in April 2025.
Wow.
April 25.
Look at the old designs too, y'all. You see the old models and everything. Look at this. This is pretty awesome to
Amazing.
see. Not dead, undead. Exactly correct. You're exactly correct.
Oh, the
I
first
love it.
wars are starting to
Here it is.
rage.
Yep, Curse Alliance and Zetic Alliance. Crazy. CCP acquires full publishing rights to EVE Online. It sounds like a stupid thing, but that's an important
That's
thing.
a
That
very important
CCP
thing.
Games controls EVE Online's publishing.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Extraterrestrial liaison from the Jove Directorate. I got to tell you, these words are too big for me, Chen. I didn't finish college. I'm not smart enough.
Hey, I'm a baby, so
Here we go.
for me as well. So 2005, the age of the capitals.
Yay.
There's the Cold War.
Capitals. Look at
Yeah,
this.
Band of Brothers begins eviction.
Here we
Effective
go.
immediately. The Fountain region and all systems therein are claimed by Band of Brothers, the Bob.
We
They
saw
consider a
this.
campaign to conquer the region and evict Fountain Alliance complete. Along with the regions of Delve and period bases, Fountain is now under Band of Brothers control and sovereignty.
That's a great question. Someone in chat asks, is there a website somewhere? I don't know.
For this? No,
For
as
this?
far as I know, they didn't do it last year,
I'm not
and
sure.
I think they're not going to do this again. So this is your one chance to see this
Right.
chat. Or well,
Right.
maybe we'll show it again, but
Red Moon
maybe on
Rising,
different channels. But
awesome.
this is your one chance.
This is really, and this is
This
just
week.
2005. Look at the deep lore and history
Yeah.
of EVE. Does any other game have this kind of stuff, Amy? I don't think so.
I don't know. Here's also an interesting fact. JITA was established as a
Wow,
primary
in
trade hub in 2005.
And look at all those high-set gankers. Where's Magaibo? He's in there somewhere.
I wanted to say
He's-
this looks like the same
Where's
every
the
day.
Thrasher? He's there somewhere. Where's the tornadoes?
Yeah.
There. Everybody's flashing red. No, this is really cool because just kind of maybe pan out and show all this. This is a double-sided.
This is just one
wall.
side, and we have
There's
the
a whole
other side. Have to go back. Yeah.
And this is all players. Most of this is players
Yeah.
did a thing.
And
Instead of here's the expansion and nothing else, look at all the players.
And on that note, I also want to add, point out to this one, first community Sisters of EVE fundraiser. I mean, I think we all know that EVE people are extremely generous.
Yes.
It's unbelievable, like the charity amounts, or if we as streamers and content creators ever do any charity events,
Yes.
that blows up. Here as well, during FanFest, there is a lot of charity events happening. We'll show
Huge.
them around during the next days as well.
We will.
But
We got 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Should we sum up?
yeah, well, let's try to squish out a couple more years, maybe.
Yeah. Let's
And then
check
we
out some
can
of the
do the second round later tomorrow. Let's see.
Yeah, if you're
The
at
arrival of
FanFest.
Titans are here in 2006.
Wow, first mothership killed in Losec in 2007. First
The Great
mom.
War.
First mom, rest in power mom. Look at that.
The Great War, Red Swarm versus Lotka, Volterra, the Battle of JVA, can't pronounce it for some reason. Budini was 2007, guys. Budini was 2007 as well. There's another Great War, the April Fool's Day Massacre.
Let's see if we can, maybe we talk to some people. You know?
We found Concord. We found Concord.
We found
Concord is here.
Everything's fine. Everything's above
Act
board.
like everything is normal.
Thank you for protecting
We can
us.
also hear, we could maybe do a little sneak peek in here for now. Here's guys, look at this. I know this is a bit different
This is the Vanguard
looking
spot.
Eve, but
Y'all,
here,
I'll see you here later.
but
I'll be
here
coming back.
people are actually trying out the Vanguard again.
Yep. I'll be coming back here later today, y'all, to be streaming it live with CCP Peaceful and some other Vanguard teams. Check that out.
I have to say, the feeling in this room is completely different.
Yeah, it is. Vanguard
Right?
definitely. I didn't know this was here. because
What
it's
do
new.
we have here?
I believe this is one of our first maps that we're on. You know?
This looks
Maps, you can walk
amazing,
around,
guys.
Down ships, maybe.
This
Maybe
looks-
it's Jita 4-4. Oh, is that Jita? Yeah, that's
Is
sick.
that Jita?
Y'all, look at this big model from Jita. It's a little hard to see because it's so bright and in this dark room.
Let's see if we can like zoom in a little bit. Is there Frontier room?
It's a little hard to see, yeah. No, is there a Frontier room? I think there's a Frontier corner. Frontier is not necessarily big enough to show off yet, so let's see if we can find Peaceful and say hi.
Let's see if we can find Peaceful. We're a little bit in a darker room.
Say hi to CCP Game Stream.
Hello.
The man,
Oh,
the
you're on the
man.
CCP channel?
Yeah, we're on the CCP channel now. Hello, welcome
Hello,
in.
chat. How
We're
are
going to
we?
be streaming with this guy later today. Definitely check out, watch the socials, watch the Vanguard Discord. We're going to come back, have a good time with it. This is on the second floor of the Fanfest area. If you want to come out and play the game with us, you can see we're playing better builds. And I have one question for you.
Yep.
Is the mining tool, is the cutting laser still a banana? Is it a...
No.
No more banana.
No, we skinned that a long time ago.
Can I have a banana skin?
There you go.
There you go. See the mining tool, Chad? Much better, the mining tool. No longer a banana.
looks really cool.
I do expect some kind of legacy banana skin, though, whenever the game launches.
I would love that. I want a 3D printed model and I
Yes.
want to give it away at
A
the next
banana.
Fanfest or something. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Just show it off.
I
All
like
right,
the
we got
chat.
like 3 minutes.
We have 3 minutes. I think we have to. We're gonna
worries.
try
All
to
the
get
best.
some more stuff.
Yep, I will
We'll
catch
see you guys later.
All the best.
Absolutely. Bye, Vanguard.
So y'all, if you want to
Let's
see
go
the
back
Vanguard-
out in space, being on ground.
It's a big deal, y'all. I expect a lot of EVE corporations to literally have people that are dedicated like vanguards. That, hey, we have some valuable stuff that's on planet. Can you go get it while we go mine our
Do you think it might become such a thing, like the same as we have, you know, if you look at bigger alliances, they have
I do.
Wormhole, they have like their own little Wormhole corporation, they have their HISA corporation. Do you
Yes.
think this is going to be, they're going to have a Vanguard, dedicated Vanguard corporation?
I think that
Or
you will
people.
hire, like, call it mercenaries, at least at the start, to test the
Yeah.
waters. It's going to depend on how valuable the Vanguard materials are for EVE
Yeah.
Online players, because this is the delicate balance that I'll talk more with Peaceful about later, is if you make Vanguard stuff not valuable enough, then not only will the EVE Online players not care, but neither will the Vanguard players.
Yeah.
If you make it so valuable, well then less people will play EVE Online comparatively.
Yeah.
And I've heard some chatter that people are like, well, EVE Online players won't play FPS games. We exist, Chad. People, I play both. We exist.
You have to play something between pressing the F1 button in a big fleet, right?
If my venture's mining, what do you think I'm doing on the other monitor?
Exactly.
Come on.
Hey guys,
Good flag. Good
there's
flag.
the goons. Hey, you guys asked for goons. There's the goons.
We found them.
We
There
found
they
the
are.
goons.
Yes. They're sinoing everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Some are still cloaked.
We only
Some
got
are
like, 2
uncloaked.
minutes left. Let's do a once over on the main floor just to show all the.
Yeah,
people.
let's do that. I was also thinking we could jump down real quick to show the view up, because
Yeah, it's a good idea.
look, more bees.
Hi everybody.
Because I think the stairs are
Buzz,
definitely
buzz.
worth seeing.
Buzz, that's right, Lucas. So, hey, you'll have to check it out, Lucas, so you can see if it's good or not.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I wouldn't judge a book by its cover, if you know what I'm saying.
I would definitely suggest everybody checks it out, and then just go from there. Look, another flag.
Check it out.
Let's go. Look at this, guys.
Look at this.
Look at the
Here's your
Sino.
active Sino. Okay. This is your active Sino. Here we are. If you want
way to go.
to show up, this is where your Sino will be lit from. Isn't that cool, though?
It
I
is
didn't
awesome.
check this one because I came from the upstairs the first time I went this way.
And people are like, did you see the sign? And I'm like, which one?
But there is more. There are more. I've seen some pictures coming around.
Sick.
I've seen pictures coming around from wall. We also have found a wild CCP stroopwafel. Say hi.
Yeah, what's
Where are the
up?
stroopwafels?
We're doing it. We're just, did you activate the signer? Is this your doing? No.
No. Okay. All right.
We got 1 minute left.
Yeah, I think like we're going to be taking a. We could like wrap it up here. I think we're gonna take another.
I'm waiting for my colleagues and heading up. Okay. Enjoying the show. Have a good day.
All right, we have 1 minute left.
Yeah.
You two guys, we're gonna run. Well, we can't really run because there's so much still to show, guys. But I think we will be showing you around throughout the whole weekend.
Yes.
I don't want to like put a very shameless plug, but we are doing after CCPNs. We're going on until 12 every night, showing everything around and about Reykjavik, the same as here. I think we're gonna. I don't really know what's the plan for us with the stream, but we might find more time to finish the wall and show you around here as well, because there's so many things. Here's like all the charity, all the activities. Like everybody is just. This is Jita. This is your Jita. This is Jita IRL.
So many people.
With
Well,
a lot
at some point, our 10 minutes are up, so at some point they're going to cut us off.
Yeah.
When that goes, when we talk to y'all again, we'll see you there. We're just going to
Absolutely.
keep walking around and talking until then. But if we abruptly get cut off, that's that. So
Then you know, then you're getting all the serious stuff again. But just take a look. All there and more. All there and more.
yes.
So, yeah, you
Here's the
can
main
come
store.
shopping.
We got merch. We got hot sauce.
We got hot sauce. We have whiskey over there further as
Saw
well.
the whiskey. What the heck? You can get a box to get your favorite one if you want. Okay.
It looks like you also have a recipe book.
Looks the Galence is the best. Yes, sir.
Oh no, he's being
I
arrested.
have to.
He's
have
in
to check
problem.
if I'm official. Okay. All my papers are in order, sir. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you keeping us safe. Thanks. Appreciate it. Look at the excellent cosplays.
Look at the amazing Concord, keeping us all safe.
It's the best. These are not real peppers. I had to check. So.
Talk to Snuff. We will find Snuff. Don't you guys worry. We will find Snuff.
There's plenty of snuff.
Oh, we like they're right there.
What do you guys think?
Snuffed Out is being busy with charity. That's a charity table.
Do you think I should get this apron, champ? Okay. It's
You?
yes for
Okay.
my next cooking stream. we can let the bar
Depends.
guest fry everything.
Depends what you're gonna cook.
I love it. I love it. Y'all like that cosplay, champ? That was sick.
Yeah, the Concord is amazing. So, I don't know how long we still got, you know? We
We'll
can
just
keep on going
talking.
all day.
We'll just keep talking.
There's guys, come on, there's even the recruitment corner. So if anybody would like to work at CCP,
Do you want to work?
their recruitment team is also here.
Your name here. Okay.
Yeah, CCP, insert your name.
Right. I've just got a request for you. I watch your streams all the time.
Oh, we are on CCP stream now.
Can you start running more Drake fleets and complaining that Drake needs to give up?
I think we need more Drakes.
We need more Drake fleets?
I've seen that video dozens of times, but I've never seen it come across quite so dramatically. So, you know, I love this venue. It's awesome. And I'm really pleased to be here. As you have heard, I'm Ron Turner. I'm here to talk to you about one of the most amazing programs in NASA. I want to make it clear, I'm a contractor with a company called Answer in the Washington, D.C. area. So I'm not a NASA employee. And I'm here on my own time. Everything you hear me say is just my thoughts. They don't represent necessarily NASA or Answer. But I think you're going to still enjoy what we're about to talk about. Okay. So I'll start off with just a little bit of a background of. Oh, and by the way, I really want to thank the Eve organizers for inviting me here. This is an awesome opportunity for me. I'm really, really pleased to be here. And I'll give you a little bit of background about how I happened to get to this place. I grew up at a wonderful time. My family moved to Florida, the Space Coast, in 1956. I was about a year old, and we didn't know it then, but the space age was about to begin, and I was in the perfect place to witness the space age begin. I was fortunate enough to have seen all of the Apollo launches that sent the astronauts to the moon. Even better than that, when we moved down to Florida, my father moved down there as a mechanic for an Air Force base at Cocoa Beach at the time, Patrick Air Force Base, Cocoa Beach. So he was a mechanic at the right place. He happened to get a job about the mid-'60s working for the Apollo program. He was lucky enough to be able to crawl around inside as an inspector as these Apollo command modules were being put together and prepared for launch to the moon. So he'd come home, from his day job at that point and tell me all the cool stories about, what had just transpired in getting people to the moon. So I was clearly poised to be a space geek at that point, hence the Star Trek logo. So that's part of it. I ended up getting a PhD in physics because I was really fascinated by physics. But I used the physics when I started working in helping the U.S. with their space program. But that's one side of the story that got me here on stage. The other part of the story is that I happen to be an Eve player. And I got started playing Eve by this guy here, Tyrus Tenebron. If any of you, he happens to be my son. He was at a university at the time. He told me about this cool game he was playing, and I said, wow, that's really neat. So I looked into it and also started playing the game. My wife didn't mind that I took up this game because since he was at university far from home, I was able to do sort of dual duty here. Hey, Jason, I've got this ship, Helios. How do I fit it out to do this next mission that I want to do? And, oh, by the way, have you looked into your housing for the fall semester? So sort of an unobtrusive way, to slip in a few things like that. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed Eve. If any of you in the audience this was 15 or so years ago, if any of you happen to remember Tyrus and have any stories about how, amazing he was, or even better, some embarrassing stories about your interactions with Tyrus, please look me up so you can share those with me. So that's how I started in Eve. I started in 2009. Even then, my logo, older and slower than dirt, because I knew I wasn't going to compete, in the PvP world, even from the beginning. My very first core was that I joined was Rock Grinders. It was sort of set up for the older player. So that was where I got my start. I did have to, sort of played for a while at the usual Eve pace, which is pretty intense, as you know, and really couldn't manage that. I had a hiatus in playing Eve for a while, but I really missed it. And, after, several years of not playing Eve, I said, I really got to get back into it. And I did. I went back. Lo and behold, all my stuff was still in dock, and all, everything I used to have was still waiting for me. I formed my own little corporation in probable asteroid mining because I knew it was going to be casual. And I knew I wouldn't be able to pull my load, in a core. So set up my own little corporation. But, again, just to be clear, as you well know, I'm not just a Care Bear squared. Early on, my number of kills, 0. Number of times killed, 18. I quit. Forget the PvP. Well, more of the story, I actually had another alt that I said, okay, let's put this other alt together, Mosram, and try to give him some more PvP skills and see what happens. And, well, he got slaughtered too. He may have got lucky and had the last shot, you know, on a kill. He may have a score or two, but it really doesn't matter. But that's okay, because I still loved Eve. I mean, I really loved the industry side. I like the mining, I like the building stuff, I like the exploring, and I like the planetary interaction. Those are the domains that I spend my time in with Eve. So that's the backstory. But now let's go into what I'm really here for, and that is, what is this thing called NIAC? NIAC is a NASA program. We're funding really early stage innovation, and our byline is really looking to change the possible in aerospace. We're looking for those things that are simultaneously exciting with a potential breakthrough, unexplored, if somebody's already looked at it, it's not our domain. Has to be credible, there has to be some evidence of plausibility, and we have to put it in a reference mission. We don't just pay you to, study some little widget in isolation. You have to study it in a mission context to show that it makes sense in the broader picture. Now, when I say credible, how credible does it have to be? Well, a good example of that is when a proposal to us is being, considered. An ideal NIAC is one where the initial reaction by the reviewers is, wow, that's really cool. But then they go, that'll never work. So, that makes for an ideal NIAC. And we're going to see another video in just a second that has a little more words behind it. The neat thing about this next video is it was actually includes a former administrator and deputy administrator of NASA. They're not the current ones. But to think that our little program, was had the attention of the top 2 people at NASA at the time was really cool. So this next video gives you a little bit more understanding of NIAC.
Science fiction shows us the incredible potential of innovation. Sci-fi dares to defy what is possible. And NASA helps make it a reality.
NASA dares to make the impossible possible. That's only because the innovators, thinkers, and doers who are helping us imagine and prepare for the future of our space exploration are the wizards working on this NIAC program.
The NASA Innovative Advanced Concepts Program enables innovators across the country to test the concepts that could change science fiction to science fact. NIAC studies revolutionary concepts to figure out how to gain new capabilities and enable missions that are either impossible or too costly today.
NIAC is essential to the future of space. We reach out to those who are captivated by big ideas in that never-ending pursuit of what's possible.
NIAC funds technically credible, visionary space and science concepts from diverse and non-traditional sources, both inside and outside of NASA.
The NIAC program helps give these forward-thinking scientists and engineers the tools and the support they need to spur technology that helps future NASA missions.
NIAC will boldly transform the future and extend the boundaries of what's possible to help NASA write the next chapter of space exploration.
right? Pretty cool. I just want to foot stomp that NIAC, you know, in my view is NASA's dream shop. Everybody thinks that NASA does, you know, the out there stuff anyway. NIAC goes the next level, and our fundamental goal really is to change the possible in aerospace. I don't know how many of you may have heard this little paradigm before, but there's 3 stages to a reaction to revolutionary ideas. It starts off with, it's completely impossible, can never happen. And then they say, well, all right, it's possible, but it's not worth doing at all. Until it gets to the 3rd stage where I knew it was a good idea, and I said it was a good idea all along. So NIAC's job is actually to fit somewhere between level 1 and level 2. Especially at the beginning of a NIAC study, you know, we really, you know, there has to be some question about whether it works or we don't fund it. Hopefully by the time the study has progressed through the different stages, then it will be advancing. It's probably not likely that in the lifetime of NIAC that they're going to get too far toward that good idea all along, but our goal is to get it to that point. There's another representation of how, you know, one views, you know, visionary ideas. Okay, this was Robert Goddard many years ago, one of the founders of aviation and space research. So a little bit of history of NIAC. It actually started as the NASA Institute for Advanced Concepts. That was a program outside of NASA, funded by NASA, but still it was managed outside of NASA by this Dr. Bob Casanova. I was fortunate enough to have been in on the ground floor of that version of NIAC. It was extremely successful. But it was followed by the current NIAC. In fact, the original NIAC was so successful that even though it ended in 2007, due to budget concerns and pressures on trying to get to the moon at that time, so they canceled the funding of the original NIAC. But there was actually an outcry from the community saying, hey, you know, that NIAC really served a role and filled a need in NASA. And so there was actually a thing called a National Academy study looking at the value of NIAC. They concluded it was worthwhile and that NASA should start it up again. And NASA did begin this program again under a slightly new guise. It was now managed inside and is managed inside NASA. Name was changed to the NASA Innovative Advanced Concepts, but we wanted to keep the branding of NIAC. It still runs to today. And I've been fortunate enough to be a part of both of those incarnations of NIAC. So NIAC does its work in 3 phases. People submit their proposals, and phase 1 is an initial feasibility study. It's just sort of a quick look to dive a little bit deeper into the idea to see if it really does make sense, to see if it really could have an impact, and is it reasonably feasible, all right? And that's all done by putting the special sauce that they bring to the table in a mission context to see how it all plays out. The most successful of the phase 1, by the way, we only fund about 12 to 15 of these every year. But then the most successful of the phase 1s, proceed to phase 2, where they have to, do a little bit deeper dive. In phase 1, they may have identified some of the biggest challenges that they have to face to make this thing really work. In phase 2, we give them a chance to make another deeper dive into, how to address those challenges. Does it still make sense? Does it still have promise to make, some future benefits? We typically award around 5 to 8 of those a year. They're 2-year studies instead of only 9 months, the phase 1. And in rare circumstances, we implemented phase 3. And that was for those unique studies that had reached the point where they were kind of on the cusp of actually getting a sponsor to take them forward. Okay, if phase 3 is not a phase 2 on steroids, it's not just, you know, another deeper yet dive. It's an opportunity if there's a transition partner that says, you know, if you could only demonstrate these key points, you know, then we have a bag full of money that we're waiting that we might throw at you. Okay, but they uniquely need NIAC funding to, you know, get across that threshold. And we've funded several of those over the past few years. That was added late in the program. We funded about 6 of those now. We funded 6 of those now. That's real money, $2 million a year, but those are rare. What we really want is the phase 2 to be successful enough that there's some aspect of the study that NASA or another agency or the commercial world might want to pick it up. So we're not just space, we're anything that's in NASA's domain, even aviation. And we're not just NASA, we're anything aerospace related. So makes for a very unique program. I'm really happy to be a part of it. But we don't just have success from the things that we actually do, okay, the studies that we actually do. One of the things that we really are proud of at NIAC is that we inspire the broader community to really understand that it's okay to dream big. Okay, it's okay to have an idea that may not be something that you can do next year or that you could make money on in 5 years, but it could be impactful. It's okay to make those dreams. And many of you are probably familiar with the Ingenuity helicopter that flew on Mars. Well, the Ingenuity helicopter was not, you know, a linear outcome of a NIAC study. But the inventor, the designer of Ingenuity, happened to step in to a seminar at Stanford University where Ilan Crew was giving a talk about this mesocopter idea that he had that was funded by the original institute. And Bob Ballram sort of sat there and listened to it and says, you know, I don't think he's doing it right, but I could do it this way instead. And the result, everybody knows. Ingenuity, an amazing success on Mars. Now the idea of drone flight on Mars is, you know, understood to be useful, valuable. And so that's an example of a success where it wasn't a direct outcome of a NIAC study, but we sort of fertilized the field and said it's okay to dream that way. In addition to, you know, the work that we do directly on funding studies, we also have an outreach to the community. Me being here is an example of our outreach to the community, to let the public know, you know, what we're doing and the kinds of stuff that we're doing. As a result, I mean, we fund such cool stuff that the media can't ignore us. They just love what NIAC does. So we get worldwide coverage of the kinds of things we do, and that's really awesome. We also go out of our way to give some of our fellows, bring them into museums so that they can interact directly with the public. We have our outreach coordinator, Kathy Riley, an amazing person who also was a part of the original institute, does a fantastic job of these outreach activities. And one of her programs is this thing called Science Fiction to Science Fact. The fellow goes in, you know, talks to the public like I'm doing here. But usually in these museum settings, the audience is a little bit younger than what I'm seeing here. You know, it's the kids, often. And the NIAC fellows are just awesome. one of the best things about being a part of this NIAC program is getting to know the fellows. And I call them fellows because when they get an award, they're a part of the NIAC community. Okay? It's not just a one and done, here's your money, go play. We bring them in, we have them interact with the rest of the fellows. We have an annual symposium where they come in and interact with each other. But they're awesome people. And a small example of just how awesome occurred in one of these science fiction, science fact meetings, presentations. We had a guy that we had funded to study using microbes to generate electricity in a little bioreactor. Okay, well, that's interesting all by itself. The guy understood, that's not the way you would explain it to a young audience. So he gets up on stage and says, how cool is this? I study bugs that poop electricity. So, we have just awesome fellows. We also, because our stuff was seen as a real, way to encourage STEM, science, technology, engineering, sometimes STEAM, art, okay. World Book Encyclopedia came to us and said, you know what, we really like what you guys are doing. And we really think your fellows and what the fellows are doing is really cool. And so they actually started this, it's now 3 series of 8 books. Each book is focused on one fellow and what they're doing, but it's more than just their concept. It's an up-close look and an intimate look at the fellow to say, what got you here? What made you decide to enter, this profession? What made you, what got you into the point, where you were somebody that was going to study one of these really cool things? So we're really pleased that the public is so enamored by NIAC. So, sort of nice that I like NIAC. It's really cool that I like NIAC, but it's gratifying to know that the public agrees with me that it's a cool program. A little bit of NIAC by the numbers. Over the years, the NIAC program has received thousands of proposals, 329 awards as of probably a week or 2 from now when we finish announcing some Phase 2 awards. So that's like 230 Phase 1s, 90, almost 100 Phase 2s, and the 6 Phase 3s. NIAC funds just about anybody that wants to be a fellow, as long as they've got a good idea. It doesn't matter what their standing is. We fund everything from garage inventors to people at national labs. Of our studies, about 1/3 of our studies have gone to NASA or JPL, NASA JPL. It's about 1/3 of our studies. About 1/3 of our studies have gone to academia, universities, and about 1/3 of our awards have gone to industries. That's where we have the garage inventors, the national labs, the big corporations, and the corporation wannabes. So it's about a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And that's not a quota system. That's just the way the proposals fall. And that thousands to 329, if you think about it, it's really tough to be a fellow. Our acceptance rate is really low because we have very high standards. So I gave the teaser in the title, NIAC, helping to make the EVE universe a reality. And I want to put some meat on that in the next rest of the talk. And I'm going to divide it down into these 4 areas. Advanced space transportation. We certainly need more advanced transportation than we need now if we're going to be zooming around the universe. Finding and imaging habitable exoplanets. We better know, what the planets are that we're going to be using. Exploring and mining moons and asteroids, near and dear to my heart, since I spend a lot of my time mining those asteroids. And living and working in deep space. I'll go into a little bit of examples of each of those, and we'll have some videos again to pull that out. In the world of advanced space transportation, NIAC has funded nuclear concepts. That includes fusion concepts, which is virtually touchable by the mainstream. We funded fission concepts. We've even funded concepts that try to employ antimatter. We've funded advanced solar sail concepts. There was a speaker here a few years ago at eFest, a friend of mine, Les Johnson, who's deep into solar sails. And we've studied different kinds of solar sails, reflective ones and refractive ones. And ask me later, I'll explain that. We even fund beamed energy, laser propulsion, particle propulsion, a combination of laser and particle propulsion. The laser propulsion actually was a concept that is used to send very tiny gram-sized, that could be used to send very tiny gram-sized spacecraft to the next star and reach it within 20 years. Pretty incredible. Actually got some amazing external funding by the Breakthrough Starshot Initiative, which put an awful lot of money into trying to understand the fundamental the fundamental physics of whether that would work. So we funded a whole range of really advanced space transportation. I'm going to show you a movie now about just one of them, a fusion drive concept.
Direct fusion drive, or DFD, is a new type of rocket engine made of a fusion reactor powering a plasma rocket. It's different from many other nuclear fusion technologies because this single fusion engine can generate both propulsion and electricity to power its payload. Here's how it works. The DFD engine is made of a linear array of coaxial magnets with a pair of smaller but stronger mirror magnets at the ends. A fusion region is centered within the magnet array, while cool plasma flows around it to extract energy. This fusion region is about the length of a surfboard and holds very hot plasma that spins like a motor. Antennas surrounding the engine create a novel radio frequency heating mechanism, which is tuned to particular fuel ions and creates a current in the plasma. The plasma ions get pumped up with increasing energy cycles until the ions become hot enough to fuse. Once the ions fuse, they create new, very energetic particles called fusion products. These particles follow paths that take them in and out of the cool plasma layer as they orbit the magnetic field lines. With each pass, the fusion products lose energy until they get captured by the open field lines and shoot out the back of the engine. This takes just a few milliseconds. The mirror magnet at the end of the engine converts this electron thermal energy into ion kinetic energy, creating thrust just like a regular rocket nozzle. Extra heat from the fusion reaction is converted into electricity, providing power for scientific instruments and communications.
Okay. We've funded several studies, a lot of studies on how we find and image habitable exoplanets. An example, we've looked across the board. I mentioned interstellar probes that actually get to those potentially get to those exoplanets. But we've also looked at optical approaches. The original NIAC actually was where the idea of a star shade originated. We've looked at how one builds extremely large telescopes. We looked at this thing called a liquid mirror, and you're going to see a little bit more about that in a minute. We also looked at this crazy idea of actually using the sun as a lens and having the sun itself form the image of an exoplanet. And we've looked in the radio regime for deep space lunar crater. How do you convert a lunar crater? How do you take advantage of a lunar crater, to build a radio telescope and other radio telescope ideas? The next video up is going to be the liquid mirror idea, and then follow.
one of the most spectacular moments in human history if we discovered that there were traces of intelligent life on another planet.
Okay. So that was clearly one of my favorite studies that we've done. That was actually made it through this thing called Phase 3, the solar gravity lens, and it was led. That was an aerospace video, but it was led by Jet Propulsion Lab. Let's see. Wait a minute. We want to go back. Wait. Oops. I hit the go button. There we go. They got it. I'd really like to go to that one. There we go. The next area, as I said, near and dear to my heart, exploring and mining moons and asteroids. We've studied new, novel ways of finding asteroids that we didn't know were there. We've studied ways of how you destroy or deflect an asteroid if it's potentially a challenge to Earth. We've studied innovative ways of exploring asteroids. But of course, the coolest part is we've actually studied ways to mine those asteroids, okay? Mining asteroids, mining icy moons, and even mining the lunar surface, all of which, you know, those of you at EVE are very familiar with all of that. And so, you know, I hit the button too soon, but what we're going to see next is a video of one of the concepts looking at how you would actually mine asteroids. And this one also went through a Phase 3. So Joel Sarcel, the fellow there, is one of those people who actually really wants to, open up his own commercial company, mining the asteroid. So we're not just funding things that lead to NASA science missions. We're also looking at, commercial, helping to foster commercial ideas. So finally, living and working in deep space. We've done studies on habitats. We've done studies on life support systems. We've done studies on how to improve astronaut health, astropharmacy, artificial gravity, this thing called mitochondrial therapy, life support. We included a study on, we've had a couple of studies now that might someday, help move toward a state of hibernation for the astronauts in deep space when necessary, or perhaps to simplify the mission. If you've followed NIAC, there's a space squirrel that, squirrels in space that made a lot of news. And the picture of the mushroom is because we've actually funded somebody now into phase 3 on how to use the mycelium from mushrooms as a substitute for the building material. So you only send a little bit of material out, and then you bring in the regolith and add some water. The mushrooms grow, they get the mycelium, and that turns into the core of the habitat, the radiation, the core of the habitat. We funded studies on radiation mitigation, everything from active shielding to passive shielding. If you happen to come to the science panel later this afternoon, that's another area that I've spent a lot of my time with NASA, is helping help NASA understand how to mitigate some of the effects of radiation. So it's an area. And I think the last video up is one that talks about how one might make soil for a large habitat. And of course, to make this program happen, it's a team. This is the NIAC team that supports the program. A couple of these are actually NASA civil servants. I want to make it clear again, I'm a contractor supporting NASA. But this team gels and works together in a fantastic way. And Frank, if you're out there listening, thank you for the support that you give. One of our fellows told me that he was going to log in, even though it's very early in the States for this. Frank Spellman, one of the analysts. But it does take this team. The team works together in a fantastic way. Each of us complement the skills provided by the others in a really just awesome team. I'm really proud to be a part of that. So our concluding slide, which means that I'm going to be making it with just a couple of minutes to spare. We really do believe the future possibilities depend on you. We look for ideas from anyone, from any walk of life, any background, as long as they can convince us that they've got a really cool idea. We're just now starting the funding of an architect. Has never done space work, but he has this interesting idea that you might be able to use blown glass to blow a habitat on the surface of the moon. So, somebody totally outside the space industry. He's got a, long way to go to convince us that it'll work, but we're open to those kind of ideas. So you have questions about NIAC, there's two ways to get to me. There's my By NASA email, ron.turner@nasa.gov. There's my company email, ron.turner@answer.org. Or feel free to email me or locate me, in-game Fail Calendar. And the only caveat that I have to be clear, there's 47 countries I understand represented here. We only fund one of them, right? But we know ideas come from everywhere. International participation is allowed, but the rules of the game that are imposed on us says that we can't actually give funding to you if you're not U.S. You can still participate, and usually, and we've had that. We've had international partners in our studies. They've usually been, found, funding from one of their home organizations. So, I'm really approaching the end of my time, but I appreciate the chance to talk to you. I hope you found this exciting. Please look me up, and I'll be happy to talk to you further. And there is a panel this afternoon if you have, some questions that you'd like to pose. So thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, we found our way back to the table.
We're back here. We found the wall. It took all of our mental energy to locate a wall. As Twitch chat said, peak content, finding a wall. Excellent stuff from the last speaker. We got a new player-focused speaker coming up next time. And, Amy, and I know we were talking about this before, if you started playing EVE Online again, what would you do different as like a brand new player? No Plex, no pay to win. You're not dropping the best card, the credit card. Okay, what would you do differently?
I think honestly, I would join an alliance in a corporation.
Ooh.
It's so funny because when I still sort of stand by what I said that. In a way, new players should try to experience what they want to do before they commit. But as more and more time I've spent, again, that word, community with people, and because I've been starting to play with more people, I started my own alliance. I'm hanging around with other alliances. It's completely different experience. So honestly, first week, joining other players, being in the Discord, being in comms with everybody, I think that would be a thing. What about you? What would you do differently if you downloaded EVE for the first time ever tomorrow?
I would definitely, I like to tell new bros to have 2 activities that they can do. It's something that I wish I learned sooner because I started off, I was a high-sec Care Bear for a while before I joined the null block I was talking about at the very beginning of the stream, back when I started. Yeah. And I was just doing missions, and what would happen a lot is I would not want to sign into EVE when I was starting because I was like, I don't necessarily want to do another level 3, whatever I was doing at the time, because I was still low on the skill points. Yeah. So have one other activity you can do, whether it's Abyss, whether it's exploration, even mining. I'd probably do mining sooner than later. I don't really recommend, we were talking about PI earlier, I don't really recommend PI for a brand new player. I call it like a month 2 or 3 activity because it is a bit involved to get into, but once you get it, it's not, you all can do it, chat. I believe in you.
That's a very bold statement. I wouldn't recommend it for a new player. It's a 2-3 months player. Mm-hmm. 2-3 months is like a 1-day-old baby still. Come on.
They need the ISK.
Come on. They need the ISK, but that's 1-day-old baby.
Well, definitely, I think I would do either mining, exploration is in the same kind of bucket for me for that kind of activity. And then I would do either faction warfare and security missions. I would pick one of those 4, and then after 2 or 3 months, maybe just figure out how you can get a P0 PI setup. You don't have to go ham. Mm-hmm. You can just get P0s and just craft some stuff close to Jitta or any other market hub. Okay, you could do Dodixie. Prices are higher. Maybe you make more money or ISK, whatever. That's what I would do. I think of those 4 activities: mining, exploration, combat, and PvP. Oh. Which one would you start with? PvE or PvP? Which one? Yeah.
Oh. I don't think you can really start with PvP though.
That's true.
I don't think you can, because you are in high sec when you just start.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, I think probably a lot of players go out and they think like, yep, this is the PvP game, and they go and shoot somebody and there's a Concord ringing in your ears. But I think you can't really start with PvP. But I think it's something that is good to start as soon as possible. Because as longer you avoid it, it's kind of like pulling off that playster very slowly when it hurts.
Yes.
Just go, rip it off, and
Dive
suddenly
in.
you're not afraid to die, you're not afraid to lose your ship, you're just like, let's go.
Get a cheap
It's the
T1.
adrenaline.
I think we saw one of the most dangerous people 2 months ago. We do a series called like Eve's Most Dangerous, and they were flying just a Navy Catalyst all day. And that was just all they were doing. And it was like a 40 millionist ship, and that's a lot for a new brochure. But you don't have to start in a Navy ship. You can fly in like a Tech 1 Tristan. I'm pretty sure there's a community fit that's just a Tech 1 Tristan. You can just dive in. And it's really cheap. It might be below like 5 million to go do PvP. It's a really good idea to get involved sooner than later, because you got to learn that ships are ammo. It's actually one of the most common comments on a lot of my newer player videos is, hey, I tried this and I died. Is that like, did I do it wrong? Like, well, you can improve, you can learn, you can get more skills. It is a part of EVE. We have to kind of get used to the fact that ships are not, losing a ship isn't like a tear. It sucks when you have a bunch of ISK and you lose it, of course, but it's not like the end of the world if you do lose your ship.
Exactly. And at the beginning, it's very scary. You're like really protective of your ships.
Yes.
At some point, it becomes a bit like a YOLO. But you have to get that first. You have to have that first death.
Yes.
First lost ship, and then you can go on.
Ooh, that's a good question. What's the first death that you remember? I'll tell you mine while you like think about it, because my lunch has come back to bite me, Chad. I will not ever not have hot sauce. Okay, I will always have hot sauce. Thank you. So I was in an Astero exploring in a wormhole, and I was still fairly new to the game after I kind of like came back from a long hiatus, like 7 years. I was rusty, we'll just put it that way. And I'm in a wormhole, and I took a ligature analyzer into a wormhole, the big one, the one that's like expensive, because I was like, oh, I can do both. I can do data, and what's not to like? The sheer, well, more like the naivete. It's just, I didn't know. And I'm on the site, I get a few, and another Astero uncloaks, and I was like, oh, it's another exploration ship. He's here for the loot. He was here for the loot. It was my loot, my ship. He killed me very easily. And he potted me the whole thing. And I don't even think he said GF in local. I was already dead at that point. He might have, but I was already, back. And he sent me back to Jeddah. Okay. And it was just one of those things that I remember being so disappointed, because I really liked that ship and I liked flying it and I enjoyed the whole thing. But when I died, after the grief kind of left, I was like, oh, why did I do that? Let's go. Now I have to why did this guy find me? You can PvP in an Astero? I didn't see any probes. How did he find me? So it started this rabbit hole of like me learning and me improving. So in the end, that's what it's for, right? So.
My first lost ship is actually very well documented. I mean, my EVE journey is all documented. I first time played EVE on stream, it was what can go wrong? Well, hello, here we are. A lot apparently, but also my first kill. But the thing is, not kill, but my first lost ship. Yeah. The thing is that at the time, everybody that was watching, or not everybody, but a lot of people that were watching wanted to help. So I had a lot of players coming in, like inviting me on a fleet and flying with me in the missions, because I was running missions. I think I was even still doing sort of like, it was definitely level 1 missions at that point.
Yep.
And we were out, and there's a mission, and they are overpowered with their ships. I don't even remember what they were flying, because obviously at that point everything was gibberish to me. And I'm in my little Punisher, and I'm doing the missions, and apparently the mission was that, well, you can try to stick around, but you're going to die anyway. So just once you get the message, just get out.
Yes.
And I missed the message, or I thought naively, like, well, the guys are there with like all of their strength, right? So I'm just there like, I'm being protected by these boys. It's all good. And suddenly, like, there's this huge light in my screen. I'm like, what just happened?
I think I know the mission you're talking about. Yeah, there's like a timer. Yeah.
No. And the light was just my ship exploding.
Oh, no timer. Just
no. That was just like my ship exploding. Because and it takes me like 15 seconds at that point. I'm like, what is this light? What happens? Like, why is my thing looks different? And then I'm like, yep, I died. And it's all documented, and we actually put it once on TikTok, and it went viral. It has like over 100,000 views, and people apparently really like to watch you being bad.
People
at
like
video
watching
games.
you die in Eve. I could have told you that for free. Crazy. What kind of death? Instant? That is something in Eve that is, I'll call it one of the more frustrating things for newer players. It's hard to know how you could have prevented your death because Eve is so deep. When I died in my Astero to that Astero, it was very clear to me, okay, I thought this guy was a, explorer. He was there to hunt explorers. And then I could go check it out. But sometimes when you die in Eve, especially when you're early, you're like, what did I do? And because we play the game through the UI, that can be a bit unintuitive. I know that there's a lot of improvements that have been made, a lot. Y'all, I played other space games recently, and unironically, the new player experience for Eve is way better than a lot of their other competitors right now. I can tell you quantifiably, not just because I'm on this stage, but because it's actually enjoyable and really does walk you through stuff. So it's definitely a lot better than it used to be, for sure.
But it's still the curve. We still have the curve.
Is it a curve or is it a sheer drop? Just like
I'm not sure anymore. Like I'm saying, like B was asking me where do I think I'm on a curve, and I said, and I pointed. You guys know the learning curve of Eve, right? And I said, I hope I am here, and it's like the one hanging, like hanging, and it's like really, and I'm like, because that means that I'm close enough to the stable part, but I'm probably not there yet.
Yeah.
I don't know how much like we still time loss we still have, but I have a question I want to ask you.
Yeah, ask me.
What would you tell an Eve nut player about Eve to maybe get them to start playing, like in one sentence?
What's my sales pitch?
What's your one sentence sales pitch about Eve?
My favorite thing to talk about with Eve, my one sentence is that it's a game that you can put down and come back to, and your work is still there and relevant. Okay? Because Eve is an MMO. So when we're talking to other MMO players, like I talk about this a lot on my stream, if you play World of Warcraft or any of these other games, the gear is irrelevant in 2 years, right? And you get a nice looking mount, but really, who cares? In a couple of years, they'll have another new mount. It just becomes like collecting the game, right? In Eve, when you play, and I took, again, a 7-year break, I was doing level 4s in my Dominix and my Dominix Navy. I was able to come back, and the DNI was still there, and the fit still worked, and the missions were still there. And some people might hear that and go, oh, the game's stale? Like, it doesn't get updates? No, the content, roughly speaking, stays the same. They add more to it. I mean, I think Faction Warfare is really the only thing that they've massively overhauled in the past couple years. Maybe the Drifter wormholes are obviously different now, right? But that's really my main pitch to, like, why should you play Eve? Because it rewards your time. It's not just a game that you play and, like, I'm never playing, like, League of Legends again, because I'm not going to depend on 4 randos that are cursing at me to rank up. I'm going to actually play a game that's enjoyable for me and my buddies. And it's a game that if you spend time in it, it gives it back to you. I think so.
Yeah.
I know that was
I'm
more
thinking
than a
about my own answer. I actually don't have one.
Okay.
But I
know that
think
was more than
usually the answer is don't.
Don't play Eve?
Everybody says don't. But no, I think...
Why would you play a dead game? Hey.
It's not dead. It's more of like, do you like to have free time?
Yes.
If yes, then maybe look some other direction. No, but I think it's... I don't know. I feel like it's the way I've been talking about Eve as well. Like I even convinced my mom to try Eve. She keeps asking, but if we would be living closer, at least in one city, I would probably get her to play. But because we're not, I can't really hold her hand, and she's a bit confused after 3-hour first rundown.
My mom would never play Eve. My mom doesn't play games.
No, mine
Mario
neither.
Kart's a bit much.
Mine neither, but she did try Eve. But she tried it because the way I was talking about it, I was talking again. I'm sounding like a broken record right now, about people. I was talking about how people are doing, how the diplomatic happens, how the politics happen out of the game, how you're, negotiating with each other, how you're scheming and planning and I don't know, the betrayal, all these player created storylines of even lore, right? And I was telling about that, and people meet up, and then you have hey, how are you doing? Great, here's a beer. And then the conversation goes okay, what are we doing? What's our next move? Okay, did you see those? Did you see those other ones? They just they brought in this stuff last week, and we have to do something. And it goes into serious mode about scheming and planning, and it's so epic to see. And I think that is the part that, I can't put it in one sentence though.
No, it's definitely hard in one sentence.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying though, because community is a big deal in Eve, and I know for a fact that certain alliances are looking at the presence that is at FanFest and are going like, all right, so we see a lot of, X alliance. Let's go hit their stuff in game because they're not at their computer. They're out getting drinks. So I know you're out there. I know the OPSEC ain't so OPSEC. You know what I'm saying? No, that is a good point though, and to kind of both of our points, that if the game rewards your time, and you can meet real lifelong friends in the game, it becomes not just rewarding in the game, but out of the game. Like I don't talk to a ton of the people that I knew back in the day from when I was in the Null Block, way back in the day, like 17 years ago. So long ago, But still, it's amazing to see that those kind of relationships and friendships can happen. And I really think it's maybe only in EVE. I don't know if there's another MMO that is this kind of longevity. We'll have to see. I'm not sure. So, yeah.
I think it's still, we have the butterfly effect as well. Like your actions actually matter.
Yes.
This is the one place where whatever you're going to do, it can actually influence something big down the line. And also what you did maybe 10 years, maybe even 20 years ago can still have a big effect now.
I totally agree. Yeah, when you were saying that, I just thought of the video that Oz did. Oz does great market analyses. Definitely go check out his content. And he interviewed a guy that makes... I think it was like 14, it might have been 1.4, but it was like either 14 or 1.4, whatever the decimal is, trillion-isk of goods by himself a week or a month. I think it was a month. It was one of his popular videos, probably a month. I think it was.
I hope
he was basically like one of the main trade creators, one of the main importers, whatever you want to call it, in JITA 4.4. This is one guy. So when we say like, I'm going to go to the market hub, it was basically this guy's market hub because he had most of the ships, most of the materials, a lot of Tech 2 rigs, I think he was saying. And he chose to, when I was watching the video, he was like, I'm not so sure if I'm going to keep doing it. I might take a backseat to stuff. I literally went and bought T2 rigs when I watched that video because I was like, the guy making them is not going to make them anymore. That means the prices are going to go up if there isn't that supply. Basic economics, Chad. I know you understand. You're smarter than I am.
It's almost like insider trading at this point.
Is it though? Is
it almost. Talking about trading, I had a really cool chat with somebody a couple of days ago here as well in Reykjavik, and it's a person that is doing running corporation with investment in EVE, and this experience.
We're going to wrap it up soon. Sorry to interrupt. So go ahead.
Yeah, and this experience by doing that in EVE actually taught him how to do it in real life.
Hey,
which
yes.
Is amazing.
You can invest in EVE, teaching you how to invest in real life. We are going to wrap up soon, so if we cut off, sorry to the guy talking about Drakes earlier. They'll probably interrupt me again while I'm talking about Drakes. We'll just keep a random conversation going while we transition out. But if we cut out, we'll see you later. We got one more segment with Amy and I today. We'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.